punter and also their kickoff man. He punts barefooted, but puts the shoe on his left foot to kick off. So Johnson descended in the air, and Albert Bentley is the deepest of 3 Colts who drop back. There's Bentley standing on the goal line, flanked by Terry Wright and Roy Banks. And so from Cleveland, the 3rd game of the season for each team begins with a bouncing kickoff. Bentley fields at the 7 and comes back out to the 27. When the season began, Gary Holgaboom was the starter. He led them against Houston, but Jack Trudeau got the nod last week, did not have a good week. He's in there again tonight as the starter in his 3rd season out of the University of Illinois. Dickerson is the running back. Bentley is the H-back. They want to get him the ball more often. Verdan makes his first start with Brooks on the outside. Beach is the tight end, and there's a big story which we'll detail as we go along. The offensive line. They're hurting, and they have really mixed things up. From the 27-yard line, on first down, it would figure Dickerson, and you'll see a lot of that tonight. He picks up 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The Cleveland defense, basically a 3-4 with Clancy, Golick in the middle, and the venerable one, Carl Hairston, in his 13th season. Grayson is as fast a linebacker as you'll ever see, with Johnson and Junkin inside, and another venerable star, Matthews, outside. Minifield and Dixon are hurting but starting, and Washington and Wright are the safeties in a revamped secondary. Dixon has an ankle sprain, Minifield a groin, but they're both in there. Matt Boozer comes in wide left for Indianapolis on 2nd down, and that's Brooks going in motion on 2nd and 7. And Dickerson cuts it back to the left side, spins to the outside, and is run out of bounds by Grayson, close to a 1st down. So Dickerson, who has carried the ball about 95% of the time in the first 2 games for Indianapolis, carries on the first 2 plays tonight.
There's only one like this, and Frank Hanford Dixon came up to try to stop Eric Dickerson. This is the play he likes to run. It really gives him any option he wants to take, and there is Dixon with the bad ankle trying to make the stop, and you think this is not an athlete?
Hanford Dixon ended up with Dickerson's towel, and that was all. Seriously misjudging his ability to get outside.
On 1st and 10, the first pass of the night is caught by the tight end, Pat Beach. So after going to Dickerson on the ground twice, they mix it up, send it to Beach. He's tackled by Matthews, and a 1st down at the Browns' 48-yard line.
What did Dickerson tell us yesterday? He's not going to view this as a successful evening unless he gets the football at least 30 times. He doesn't feel that he's being utilized. His potential is not being maximized unless he carries the ball at least 30 times. He carried it 48 in the first 2 ball games, only 24 average. I guess that's being underused.
The problem has been they have not had the ball that much in the first 2 games.
And they've had to play catch-up.
Dickerson, his 3rd carry of the night, is his least productive to this point as he picks up 2. So he's gotten 3, 7, and now 2. And Mike Junkin, last year's #1 draft choice out of Duke, number 54, with a tackle.
And Dickerson running over the left side, where a year ago he was running behind 3 Pro Bowl players over that left side. Chris Hinton, the all-pro tackle on the left side. What a difference it makes, man. You got people out there trying, but you miss Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, Joel Patton is starting at left tackle tonight, a 3rd-year guy, but a free agent and several notches below the abilities of Chris Hinton.
On 2nd down and 8, Booza in motion, comes back the other way, and there's contact on the left side of the line.
That was Pat Beach, the tight end. You saw some of the Browns come across the line first, but then 81, the tight end moves, but the tight end is allowed to get up out of his stance, and Beach almost gave that penalty away, and this may end up being on Cleveland.
Start on the offense, number 81.
See,
5 yards, 2nd down.
Beach made a mistake there. He should have come back and get in his stance. He's not an offensive lineman. If he gets away without contact and hurries up and gets back in his stance, he might have been able to get away with that. He kind of invited that penalty, and the official's more than happy to give it to him.
Ben Dreif making the call. Ron Meyer, who took over at the end of the 1986 season. Now in his 6th year overall, he started his career as the New England head coach, as Dickerson. On 2nd down and long, moves inside the 45 to the 43-yard line as Dixon and Grayson converge on the tackle. So it'll be 3rd down and about 4 upcoming from the 43.
Frank, do you figure there's another player in the league that makes you just involuntarily hold your breath when he has the football the way Eric Dickerson does?
Marty Schottenheimer, the Browns coach, touched on it. He said, you know, you can't contain him. You just hope he doesn't go off when you're playing him. He's like a bomb out there.
3rd and 4. And the shotgun for the first time, and even out of the gun they go to Dickerson, and why not a 1st down? So they use Dickerson in the eye, they use him with split backs, we also have a flag thrown at the end of the play. They love to throw the ball to him, and they give it to him out of the gun as well.
Well, that was Thane Gash, number 30, that made the play over on the sidelines. Boy, that sure didn't look like he was overly aggressive in going after Dickerson.
At least foul number 30 on the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty, and that's a 1st down.
I'd like to take a look at this from another angle. It looked at the end there like Gash was attempting to hold Dickerson up. Now here's the play as we see it from ground level. Boy, I don't know. I guess it's how far out of bounds they are. This will tell us right here, but
It's something they're calling more and more this year. They're 5 yards out of bounds, and they were right there with the flag. But he certainly didn't bruise a pinky on it.
they started inbounds with the contact. That's, I guess the officials are serving notice early.
From the 17 now on 1st down, over the middle to the 10-yard line to Mark Boyer, the second tight end. He stopped by Mike Johnson. So Indianapolis mounting an impressive first drive with 11:20 to play in the first quarter. They're down at the Cleveland 10. Trudeau, the quarterback. For Dickerson, this stadium is a home away from home. It's the 4th time he has played here in the last calendar year. Once as a Ram, 3 times as a Colt. As you can see, Cleveland has not allowed a TD this season on any of 18 drives that started on the other side of the 50. Indianapolis tries to cash in here on 2nd and 3. The up back, to keep him honest, is Bentley. And Bentley in any other backfield would be a main man, but not here. Mainly a blocker, an H-back, and this time they give it to him as the up back through the middle, and he's close to a 1st down.
Only his 6th rushing attempt of the year, and last season he was over 1,600 yards, all-purpose yardage. Fine football player. He's being very patient with this entire situation here, being the H-back, not getting any action, but you know he likes to get his hands on the football. Very versatile, good receiver, good running back, and not getting, of course, much action with Dickerson getting all the calls.
And a big plus here for the Colts, being able to get a 1st down inside of the 10-yard line. They're down around to 8, and so the Colts with a very impressive early drive, but when you haven't won a ball game, you've had trouble pushing it across the goal line. 14 points in their first game to Houston, only 13 in their game last week to Chicago. An early score would be good for Indianapolis.
1st and goal, Colts at the Browns 7-yard line. Dickerson to the outside, touchdown. And a flag down after the play. And against Indianapolis, and I think against Billy Brooks.
Well, the flag came in after the play. Frank Minifield, one of the Browns there. The flag came in after the play. That doesn't necessarily mean the foul came after the play.
Ben Dreith is the referee. Dickerson was well into the end zone, but they'll bring it back out because of holding, I believe, on Brooks.
Minifield and Brooks were all tied up, and they are going to march it off. An interesting play. That's the one where they give it to Dickerson. He looks across the line of scrimmage. He takes a little pause, and he just finds something opening and sprints to the outside. And we should see the hold here. Minifield working against Brooks.
Oh, you
number 80.
clearly see Brooks with his left hand had a hold of Minifield's jersey, pulled him clear back to the inside, and you have to think that Frank Minifield makes that play on Dickerson if it wasn't for the hold by Brooks. So good officiating early here by the guys in the stripes. They caught that one.
From the 13 on 1st and goal. Dickerson is the sole setback with 3 wide receivers. And on the draw, Dickerson threads his way through the middle, and he gets stopped at the 10-yard line. Gang tackled there. Brian Washington comes up from the safety spot to make the initial contact. It'll be 2nd and goal.
They may be
Darrell Sims also there.
They may be going for the 30 carries in the first quarter.
Penalty slowed it down a little bit, but if I'm the Cleveland Browns, second against the rush a year ago. We'll look at that hold one more time, no question about it. If I'm the Browns, I've got to be worried. Thus far, Indianapolis has done just about whatever they wanted to do. And whatever they wanted to do is give the ball to Dickerson.
7 times they've done it on this drive. Second down goal. 9:30 to play, first quarter. Indianapolis mounting an opening drive and trying to cash in. Second and goal from the 10. Brooks in motion. They send Dickerson out into the left flat, and the throw is through Booza's hands, incomplete. Matt Booza, third down and goal now from the 10.
If Eric Dickerson isn't going to carry the ball, he's going to be a decoy. Dickerson flares to the outside, allowing Booza to work underneath, and Booza's going to react back towards the sideline underneath Dickerson, and just a beautifully thrown ball by Jack Trudeau. He knows he can't throw it any better than that, and inside the red zone, inside the opponent's 20-yard line. That's a catch you just have to make.
And Booza had caught balls in 38 straight games until last week. He was blanked against Chicago and drops one here. Third down goal out of the shotgun. The last time they were in the gun, they gave it to Dickerson. They send Bentley in motion, and there's a miscalculation on the snap with Trudeau starting back, and it was Clarence Verdan who actually came across the line, and the flag is down. Verdan was the wideout on the left.
Trudeau and Verdan were in sync. Trudeau started to drop back.
Number 83 offense. He went across the line and made contact.
Trudeau and Verdan made the move at the same time, and I don't know whether they had messed up the snap call or not. Watch Trudeau, and when he moves back.
Well, the Browns are going to show blitz, and that kind of scares Jack a little bit, but you're right. Verdan doesn't go on the snap count. He doesn't even know what it is. He's looking inside to see what's happening. When he saw Trudeau start to back out, he went ahead and released. I agree. That one really falls on number 10's shoulders.
Third down and goal now from the 15 out of the shotgun. Dickerson through the middle, but only for 3. Hill and Gash, the 2 safeties, converge on the tackle. So because of the holding call on Brooks, negating the touchdown, Indianapolis will now try to settle for just 3. And this will be interesting as well, because Dean Biasucci is their place kicker, but he's been bothered with a groin pull. They have Jess Atkinson, the much-traveled one, on the active roster tonight. But Biasucci kicked well enough in the pregame drills to earn the spot here. Ron Stark to hold. They'll spot it just outside the 20. A 30-yard attempt. Donaldson is the center. And Biasucci's kick is just good. Just inside the left upright. So instead of 7, they only get 3 with 8:33 to go in the period. 3-0 Colts. Strained groin, healthy enough to kick the extra points and field goals tonight, but not to kick off, and thus they have signed Jess Atkinson, the former Giant, Cardinal, and Redskin, and he'll do the kicking off. Back deep, that's number 83, Glenn Young, closest to us, and Herman Fontenot, number 28. 6 minutes and 27 seconds consumed on that opening drive as the ball comes off the tee on its own account here. I don't think the wind had anything to do with it.
Watching that call on third and goal at the 14-yard line, I'm going to tell you a little bit about 2 things. First of all, their confidence in Trudeau. Second, their confidence in Dickerson. They went with the draw to Dickerson.
Atkinson kicks it. Taken at the 5 by Glenn Young. And he takes a hard hit by Fred Young. And Young is the fella, of course, who signed at the expense of 2 first-round draft choices from Seattle. Take another look at the hit. Young made the Pro Bowl his first 2 years in the league with Seattle as a special teamer, and he still exhibits those skills.
And that is why, plastic on plastic, Fred Young going right for the face mask of Glenn Young, and that is exactly why he went to a pair of Pro Bowls. 2 as a starter, 2 as a special teamer. Not bad. He's 4 for 4.
So now the one-time Colt, Mike Pagel, and the Browns start from the 23-yard line, trailing 3-0. And Pagel starts by giving it to Ernest Biner, who threads his way across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Mike Pagel, out of Arizona State, drafted by the Colts. He was their starter much of the time between 82 and 85, then picked up by Cleveland for a low draft pick. Didn't play at all in '86. Barely last year. He has Biner and Mack with him. Langhorne and Slaughter is back. Webster missed last week's game with a hamstring pull. And there is the offensive line, and an interesting story at center with Greg Riccozzi now the starter and Mike Babb having been traded to New England. 2nd down and 7. They send Biner in motion. Fake it to Mack, and Pagel's first toss is complete to Brennan out to the 38-yard line. Their possession receiver stopped by Cliff Odom. Indianapolis, like Cleveland, plays a basic 3-4. And the men up front are Donnell Thompson, the former Jet Joe Klecko, and John Hand. And then the linebackers, and they're great. You've got Young over from Seattle, Odom, and the venerable Krause inside, and Dwayne Bickett, the underrated one, or underpublicized one, I suppose, outside. Cullis and Daniel the corners. Robinson and Pryor are the safeties. On 1st and 10, Pagel going deep. Incomplete, intended for Slaughter, and he was blanketed by Eugene Daniel. 2nd and 10.
One of the things you had to wonder about the Cleveland Browns and Marty Schottenheimer, who's now calling the plays, is what's going to happen? Are they going to adjust the system to match the quarterback, their 3rd and 3 weeks in Mike Pagel, or is the quarterback going to have to adapt to match the system? And you think of the Browns in this situation, you'd think that they're just going to slam the ball up in there, but it looks like they're not going to be afraid to air it out at all with Pagel. And Marty Schottenheimer taking over for the departed Lindy Infante as play caller extraordinaire. And Infante, of course, now with the Packers, and Schottenheimer taking some pressure for his call.
2nd and 10. Flip it out to Kevin Mack. And Mack is taken out of bounds near the 1st down marker at about the 47-yard line. Run out of bounds by Mike Pryor. Appears to be shy by about a yard.
Good read that time by Kevin Mack. He's going to read Dwayne Bickett right here, who's going to come on the blitz. When he reads the blitz, it's the instant release, and a good read that time by Mike Pagel, the quarterback. That's an automatic that time by Kevin Mack reading the blitz. An effective job by Pagel, the quarterback, and getting him the ball, and that's exactly what the Browns are going to have to do tonight because the blitz is going to come and come repeatedly.
Kozar in street clothes. Bernie looks on with 3rd down and less than a yard from the 47-yard line, and that hard yard is picked up by Ernest Biner. So Kozar, and he figures to be in that pose and wearing street clothes for the next 3 or 4 weeks, even though he's on injury reserve and would be eligible to come back in week 5.
There's the brace on the right arm, and standing nearby, there he is in the sweater, the diamond sweater. That's Don Strock. Recently acquired, inactive for tonight's game, but he's the insurance as the Browns are now down to number 3, Mike Pagel. Think about Mike Pagel. He throws the ball so much harder than Bernie Kozar. And I can tell you, as a former receiver, it makes a major difference. You practice and you practice with one man, all of a sudden you've got some zip on that ball. It does make a difference.
Mack from the 48, he's got a specially constructed shoulder pad, as you can see. That's why it's so high. It's built up because he's been bothered with a bad neck.
I always wanted a pair of pads that big when I played, and they wouldn't give them to me. And I guess I had to have a neck injury first. That's got to be the kind of a shoulder pad, the way it's sloped on Kevin Mack, that's going to make it a little harder to tackle him. You'd think that nothing to hold on there, that your fingers are just going to slide off the back of that thing.
Working great for Tommy Kramer up at Minnesota.
Looks better on Mack than it does on Kramer.
He looks mean out there, doesn't he?
Looked pretty good on Kramer yesterday. 2nd down and 8 from the 50-yard line. Pagel protected well. A wobbly ball dropped by Brennan. And the pressure that time put on by Donnell Thompson, who may have gotten a hand on it.
I think that might have been deflected. Either that or it was something Pagel wanted back, because that was a wounded duck flying out through the air.
Bad-looking ball.
Pagel had to duck underneath Thompson, and he threw it a little bit off balance. That might have been part of the reason. It was behind Brennan. Would have been some kind of a catch by Brian Brennan to pull that thing in. The ball was a couple feet back to his inside.
Pagel, strong arm, good scrambler. Indianapolis would never have to worry about Kozar scrambling out of there, but with Pagel, it's a different story.
The Browns now in a shotgun for the first time since 1985 on 3rd and 8. And Pagel throws and hits Slaughter for a first down at the 33-yard line. So Slaughter last week, and he gets into a shoving match with Terry Wright. He missed last week's game with a hamstring pull. Healthy again tonight, picks up the first down.
A lot of zip on the ball. Pagel knew right where he was going, looked it all the way, fires it in, it's complete. Slaughter pulling up right in the open area, coming down with the ball and getting the first down. But did you see the zip on that?
Well, did you also see number 38, Eugene Daniel, the guy who's been having the toughest time back in the Colts secondary? That time on a 3rd and 8 play was giving Slaughter about a 15-yard cushion. Didn't even contest him on the play, and Eugene Daniels had a tough couple weeks, and he's going to make it 3 if he keeps up playing that loosely.
From the 32-yard line, Kevin Mack is taken down by Bickett after a pickup of 2. We mentioned the last time Cleveland used the gun, Kozar was in it at the end of the 85 season. Bernie does not like to operate from it, so he has not been a part of a shotgun formation in the last 2 seasons, and Danielson hasn't been when he has played. So the Browns go into the playbook for something different tonight.
Bernie doesn't like it because he's such a good reader of defenses, and he doesn't want to take his eyes off that defense. For that fraction of a second, you have to look the ball into your hands from the shotgun. That's just simply the reason. Pagel, it doesn't matter to him.
2nd and 8, that's Biner going in motion from his outside spot. Blocking for Mack, but it's too slow in developing, and he's run out of bounds near the line of scrimmage.
I would say so. He was throwing rust out there.
I've seen a few slow sweeps before. He was going so slow, I thought he was going to set up the option pass.
I thought you were using your replay on that.
I thought that he was going, it looked like it was slow motion. Not much chance of Kevin Mack getting around the corner on this one. Just a simple toss, and got Dan Fike, Cody Rise, and the guys out front. Pretty effectively played by Cliff Odom, coming all the way over from his inside linebacker, stretching that thing out.
Yeah, well designed, but it looked like they were walking through the play.
Well, they did.
3rd down and 8 from the 30-yard line. Low snap, flags are down. Pagel going deep and far too deep. Daniel that time was covering Slaughter. 2 flags down. And we'll get the call from Ben Dreith with 3:43 to go in the first quarter. Indianapolis on top 3-0. And it's against the Colts.
Defense offside, number 56. 5 yards and it's 3rd down.
That's Fred Young, who's moved from the inside to the outside.
A lot of different action out there. You're going to see things differently. Fred Young's never played out there. He was an inside linebacker up in Seattle, and it's a totally new move. Interesting, too. He only weighs about 225 pounds now. He's playing on what you would call the strong side. Most teams are right-handed, and they run primarily to the right. So he's going to see a lot of running plays where he has to take on the tight end and try to break up that running play.
3rd and 3 from the 25-yard line. Biner in motion. Mack needs 3, gets 3, and more. First down.
The other thing about Freddie Young, he has not been working out in training camp, and you saw him miss a tackle he certainly should have had.
He had the angle on Mack that time, and he drove to make the tackle, and you're going to watch, as Frank said, a classic case of a guy. Look at him fight off the block, move to the outside, but look, the legs just aren't there. He drives outside to try to make the play on Mack, and his legs just don't have enough strength to carry him there, and he falls short. 2 number 1 draft choices for Fred Young and a whole bunch of money. And we'll get into a story later that makes you wonder if the Colts needed an outside linebacker that much and were willing to pay him that much. Whatever happened to the guy in Buffalo?
Cornelius Bennett from the 14-yard line. It's Mack, and he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Stopped by Barry Krause, number 55. Little skirmish develops.
And it was just last week, Johnny Cooks, who was a number 1 draft pick, about the 3rd player taken in the draft a few years ago. They just waived him after saying he had a fine year last year. Team with Dwayne Pickett on the other side, they waived him. The Giants have him, and he turned in a pretty good game against the Cowboys yesterday.
Well, here's your fella, Barry Krause. Unofficially, he holds the record. Most consecutive daytime games in the NFL. He's finally ready for prime time. 9 years with the Colts, his first Monday night game. Of course, it's the first time the Colts have been on in 10 years. 2nd and 10. Pagel going for the end zone. Touchdown, Ozzie Newsome. And the Cleveland Browns score their first touchdown of the season.
Give Ernest Biner an assist on that. A key block against the pass rushing Dwayne Bickett, who was coming on the blitz for the Colts. That gave Pagel time to get that ball off.
Strictly zone coverage this time by the Colts. And they're giving up the outside of the end zone. And look at the alley that Pagel had to see Ozzie Newsome not challenged at all towards the sidelines. Fred Young way too late in getting back in to make the play. And I don't know that that was the best of defenses for Indianapolis to be in that situation.
Matt Farr boots it through. And so the drive stays alive when Young is offside and Pagel cashes in. 7-3 Cleveland. Cleveland Municipal Stadium. But the Municipal has been dropped. It's now simply Cleveland Stadium as Johnson kicks off for the Browns. They lead 7-3, and Bentley will keep it in the end zone. And so the Colts will start their next drive from the 20-yard line. 1 minute 55 seconds remaining in the first quarter in Cleveland. It's 7-3 Browns. Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf with 1 minute and 55 seconds to play in the first quarter. The Cleveland Browns just having scored their first touchdown of the season on top by a score of 7-3. And the Indianapolis Colts now begin this drive from their own 20-yard line. Indianapolis saw a touchdown wiped out on a holding call. They had to settle for 3. They're down by 4, first and 10 from the 20. Dickerson's already carried 8 times for 41 yards. Brooks goes in motion. And Dickerson's 9th carry is good for about 2 to the 22. Let's go back and look at the touchdown.
Here's Ozzie Newsome rather, lined up at tight end. He's just going to run a corner pattern. Over here is Barry Krause. He can't cover him and chase him all the way here. Here's Fred Robinson, the safety. He's got to help. He ends up back here in the middle. Watch this one unfold. Krause, there's no way this guy can move all the way across the formation and try to stay up with Newsome. Where's Robinson, the safety? There, he's just coming into your picture. Somehow he's got to give some help to Krause. Touchdown, Cleveland.
It looked like an Ozzie Smith.
I've never seen Ozzie Smith run that corner pattern. Good hands, though. Good hands.
2nd and 8. Dickerson fumble. Loose at the 31. And Cleveland has it. And Dickerson, who is prone to fumbling and normally in critical situations, as has been the case in the first 2 weeks, coughs it up here in the first quarter. Recovered by Dixon. So 129 sits on the fumble of the other.
All great running backs are going to fumble the football. They're twisting, they're turning, they're trying for extra yardage. And Eric Dickerson probably carries it as loose as you're ever going to find a running back carry the football. He carries it one hand there, going through the line of scrimmage, swinging the football. He uses it for balance, and stripped out of his hands by Duncan, the inside linebacker of the Cleveland Browns. But Al, you touched on it. Crucial fumble last week in the loss to the Bears. Same thing in the opening loss to the Houston Oilers in games that they could have won. They lost by a combined 7 points.
You looked at Junkin stripping the ball there. He really didn't hit it hard. Just got a hand on it, and Dickerson just lost it. You shouldn't see it come out like that.
And Pagel goes up top and has it deflected on first down from the 30-yard line. Donnell Thompson got a hand on it. The 6'4", 275-pound defensive end out of North Carolina.
Like all running backs, great running backs, they don't like to hear about. And he is basically the offense for Indianapolis. He's got a good point, because when he is getting those extra yards, that ball is in jeopardy and everyone's going for it.
No, but Frank, the point to be brought out there, if John Elway threw more interceptions than any other quarterback, as good as he is, you have to point it out.
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, he's also going to get you a lot of yards other backs will never get.
Ernest Biner picks up 3. And again, as is the case with an Ernest Biner, it doesn't diminish his skill as a running back, but it's the type of thing, and you all know it if you follow football, he'll have to live with it forever. The fumble last year against Denver.
Isn't that the truth? Of all the great things this man has done, he's going to have to live with that one fumble against Denver that everyone thought cost Cleveland the AFC Championship and a Super Bowl game. But believe me, they would not have been there had it not been for an Ernest Biner.
Barry Krause shaken up. We'll be back. Barry Krause was shaken up before we went to commercial, and he has left the field under his own power. Figures to be back in very shortly. There he is. 3rd down and 6 for Cleveland. nickel defense for Indianapolis with a 5 defensive backman from the 26-yard line on 3rd and 6, and Pagel out of the shotgun. Again, a low snap. Throws over the middle, complete for a first down. He hits Brian Brennan, who is wrapped up by Terry Wright.
And that is good work by Mike Pagel, the quarterback, because you know that right off the bat he had to lose eye contact with the entire secondary and his receivers because of the low snap. Still had the ability to come back in, focus on what he had to do, and find Brennan for the first down.
And the Browns have treated their fans to their first touchdown of the season as the first quarter comes to a conclusion. At the end of one, 7-3 Browns, and will return to Cleveland for the second quarter after this message and a word from your local station in Cleveland. And this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? The Cleveland Browns marching 1st and 10 at the Indianapolis 17-yard line. They lead 7-3 as we start the second quarter. And Kevin Mack exploits the hole and takes it inside the 15, is wrapped up at the 14 by Mike Pryor and Barry Krause, who is back in the game.
Tailbacks carry the ball one way, fullbacks carry it another. Watch Kevin Mack as he cradles the football as he goes through the line. 2 hands on the football when he goes through the line, and anytime there's contact, look at the struggle to try to get the other arm on the ball. Effectively protecting the ball inside your opponent's 20-yard line. One way to keep from fumbling.
2nd and 5 at the Colts 13-yard line. Biner and Mack are the running backs, and now Biner goes in motion. And they give it to Mack again, and Mack gets close to a first down as he reaches the 8-yard line. It will be very close.
This is what the Browns like to see, that troubled offensive line of theirs with the trade of Mike Babb and the change at center, Greg Riccozzi, and there's a lot, seemed like as you talk to the Browns, talk to the coaches, everything seemed to focus on that as much, almost, Dan, as much as it did on their quarterback situation.
Well, Babb was such an important part of this team for so long. First of all, because of his locker room presence, he was a fun guy to be around, but because he called all the signals on the line of scrimmage. Everyone on the offensive line depended upon his call. He identified the defense. He described the blocking scheme they were going to use, and a lot of pressure there on 73, Greg Riccozzi now. A second-year guy out of Miami. He was their number 2 draft choice last year. I'll say one thing about him. This is the way centers are headed. He's 6'6", 290. The center was always the smallest lineman on your team. 6'6" and 290. The game is changing.
Pagel can get his hands in there from an upright position.
Can he get him out?
1st and goal from the 8 with Biner in motion. And Mack again through the middle, takes the hit, stays on his feet, and moves forward for another yard. Cliff Odom made the initial pop, number 93, in his 8th year out of Texas Arlington. Funny thing about the Colts, great linebackers, but again, because of the fact that until last year they'd had some miserable seasons, a lot of their good veterans, like Bickett, like Odom, are basically unknown because of lack of exposure. And as we said before, hard to believe, but it's been 10 years since the Colts played on a Monday night. And they, of course, were in Baltimore then, back in 1978. Ted Mark Tribroda was the coach. Burt Jones was the quarterback.
Now, last year, I'll tell you why they haven't played. Last year was their first winning season in 10 years.
The Colts had some sort of a problem. The officials stopped the clock, and Freddie Robinson left the game. And I believe Terry Wright has come in for the Colts. There must have been an equipment problem of some sort. There's Fred Robinson on the sidelines, and he had to leave. The Browns in a position to do some damage. Here's Wright.
2nd down and goal from the 5. Brennan in motion. And Pagel hits Brennan, and he gets bumped out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Mike Pryor with the coverage on the play. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
Nicely played that time by Pryor. Watch Pryor, 39. He goes in motion all the way with Brian Brennan. They're in a man coverage. He's going to track him all the way across the formation. Smelled that play out perfectly and played it as good as you can.
Well covered down there, close in. You've got to play it that way. You cannot take the chance of turning him over to somebody else. You've got to stay right on him, and well played by Pryor.
You know, it's tough going across your own defense the way Pryor does. In that situation, not run into one of your own guys. Your linebackers are moving. He did it well.
3rd and goal, and they send in the 4 wide receivers. Leave Biner in the block, and Pagel throws, and it's dropped at the goal line by Reggie Langhorne. Covering on the play was number 42, the cornerback Willie Tullis. And in comes the field goal unit with Matt Barr.
One of those reclamation jobs for the Indianapolis Colts. Willie Tullis with Houston for a long time, and then with New Orleans for a couple of years, cut loose, free agent a year ago. They've got a few of them. Ezra Johnson, defensive end, playing well for them. Joe Klecko, a nose tackle.
Matt Barr, who's been here a long time. He started his career with the Steelers, briefly with the 49ers, came here in '81. Johnson to hold, 21-yard field goal attempt from the 11-yard line. And Barr puts it through. So Pagel comes off the bench, and he's guided them to a touchdown and to a field goal. And early in the 2nd quarter, it's the Browns by 7.
Honey.
With Cleveland on top, and Lee Johnson, who does their punting and is also their kickoff man, puts it in the air. Bentley takes it at the 4. And Bentley comes back out to the 24-yard line. Well, a lot of crazy things can happen in the National Football League, and you guys have to explain to me how the Jets can beat Houston 45-3, how Kansas City knocks off Denver, how San Diego beats Seattle. Weird weekend.
Get even week, and how about how many people were hurt yesterday as well? Dave Craig goes down.
Another quarterback.
I mean, a whole lot of injuries. William Perry breaks an arm. Jim McMahon's got a bruised up knee.
And then the Giants beat Dallas on a wrong call, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Trudeau, a flag goes down as the catch is made by Bill Brooks at the 37-yard line. Enough for a first down without the penalty, so we'll see about Ben Dreith's call here. And it's against Cleveland.
One thing about the Giants and the Cowboys, everyone in America now is going to know what constitutes a touchback and what constitutes
illegal
a safety.
Contact on a defense.
Even us.
They declined a penalty. It'll be first down.
Illegal contact on Minifield. So at the 37-yard line, first down, penalty declined.
Frank Minifield wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play today because of the bum groin, but he makes that play a little too zealously, keeps his contact a little too long, but playing well.
From the 37-yard line, Trudeau for a gain of about 5 to Pat Beach. Tex Schramm had to be going crazy today, Frank. They wind up losing the game by 2 on a call that shouldn't have been made, right on the opening kickoff with Darryl Clack.
Tex, oh no, he'll take that very nicely. Very calm and cool.
Right.
That was bizarre, though, wasn't it? Honestly, when I looked at it, I didn't understand it either.
The ruling is if the ball is
going
muffed,
to run it out, then that changed everything. But it was muffed into the end zone, and could have been a touchback.
2nd and 5 at the 42-yard line. That's Verdan going in motion, and the up-back Bentley takes it to the 45-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd down and about 2. Bob Golick and Frank Minifield converge on the stop.
You know, these officials do so well over the entire year as we watch them, and they really do an amazing job. And you see a replay. They call everything in full speed. They make the call. There's Ben Dreith. They call everything as they see it. We see it on replay, and we get very critical about it. But every now and then, something happens like that, and all of a sudden it just hangs over them all season long. They do an amazingly good job.
3rd down, a short 2. And Dickerson, and he couldn't get going. Dickerson looking for the opening and nothing open. Matthews and Junkin converge on the tackle.
running backs like Dickerson like to take that handoff deep in their own backfield, but on 3rd and short, it's going to take you a while to get to the line of scrimmage, and it gives the defensive lineman time to react. Here's Carl Hairston fighting off the block of Joel Patton. Nice spin to the outside, keeps his feet, and really stymies the play. Big Daddy 13th year for Maryland Eastern Shores, a favorite here in Cleveland, and that was a big-time move. An outside spin and making that play.
And getting help from an 11-year linebacker on the outside, Clay Matthews, number 57.
Ron Stark to kick. Crowd chanting Cube for the Ice Cube. Little Gerald McNeil, who fields the punt at the 16-yard line. And the 5'7", 140-pounder goes nowhere. He's tackled by Barry Krause. Browns will start the next drive from the 15. 8:54 remaining in the half. 10-3 Browns. Historic Jet, injured last year, comes back with Indianapolis this season, and he's plugging up the middle in their 3-4. Pretty good dossier for that man.
Loves to play that offset. See him cocked there in the middle. He plays it sideways and really exposes that bad leg.
Side saddle over Rakosi from the 15-yard line. This drive begins with Ernest Finer on the ground for a pickup of a couple. It'll be second down and 8. 8:45 remaining in the half. Cleveland on top 10-3. Barry Krause making the tackle.
You wonder why nose guards have bad legs. Look at Joe Klecko get in there sideways. Just it opens up to the right guard and cut down immediately, and then crinkled up as he's whacked by Dan Fike. And you know, when you get a couple bad knees at another position, maybe they can move you somewhere to hide you a little bit. Well, where does a nose guard go to hide? How does a nose guard extend his career? Klecko's having a devil of a time trying to do it.
Second and 8 from the 18-yard line. Pagel protected well, throws, and it's caught by Webster Slaughter. No, yeah, it's Webster Slaughter, and he's out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
Well, the Colts are arguing that the ball came out. Eugene Daniel had the coverage on Slaughter, and he's saying that the ball came loose. The ball clearly was on the ground, but did he have possession when he went out of bounds?
Daniel just slaps the ball out of there, but the possession is already made. Well, that's an arguable one.
Well, it looks like, well, the key here is Slaughter has to get both feet on the ground, having possession of the football. Let's take that and see if he did it. There's one. There's two. Well, we can't tell from that angle where he lost the football.
They're going to look at it, though.
Yeah, clearly they're going to look at this on instant replay. You have to get both feet on the ground to have it be a legitimate pass reception. Let's try reverse angle from the far side of the field. This ought to tell us something. All right, look at the feet and look at the hands and follow the football in. Okay, there he has it. There goes the right foot. There goes the left. Boy, and just about the time the left is on the ground, the ball comes out. Now the ball follows through and bounces out of bounds.
Replay official is Dixon Holman.
He's got a tough one for his first one.
Well, what's key here is he has to see conclusive proof to overturn the call on the field. Now the call on the field was that they gave him the completion, did they not? So he has to see enough to overturn the officials on the field.
There's Dick Dolak. He's talking about the 30-second clock here. He's not talking to the replay official.
You really don't see the left foot come down there, as Eugene Daniel argued that he did not have both feet down. The ball would go to Cleveland, where it went out of bounds if they do not overturn it, and they're not going to overturn it.
I can't fault them there. I don't see where you could see enough to overturn the officials that were on the spot.
Agreed. So it's a completed pass, play stands, ball at the 34.
And you know what? If the official on the spot rules it an incompletion, you'd have to let that stand as well. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yep. That's right, because they're saying inconclusive evidence is what it amounts to. So not enough to overrule it.
Of course, I don't really care if you agree or not. I was just trying to be nice, Al.
Well, as long as we're so tight here in the booth.
You better agree.
That's right. When one of us moves, we all move.
Another look. Meanwhile, with the clock, the 30-second clock ticking down, they just do get the next play off. And Mack gets stopped by Thompson. It was a 1st and 10. It'll be second down now and about 9 from the 35-yard line.
The Browns got Kevin Mack around the corner one time, working against Freddie Young, but they've been trying the right side ever since and haven't had a great deal of success. In fact, they've been having trouble getting back to the line of scrimmage. Barely getting beyond at that time, not even a full yard on the pickup. Might be time to try something new.
2nd and 9 from the 35. That's Biner in motion. And quickly over the middle out to the 41-yard line. The catch is made by Derek Tennell, who is their number 2 tight end behind Newsome, and he never had possession of it. Incomplete. Back it comes to the line of scrimmage. Ruled incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
Bagel again. Almost deflected that ball right into Tennell. It was Mike Peter there defensively. Mike Pryor, rather.
Now Pagel out of the shotgun, 3rd down and 9 from the 35-yard line. Inside handoff to Biner on a sweep. And Biner goes to his right as he stays on his feet and is finally tackled by Willie Tullis. He got out of the grasp of Ezra Johnson, who busted up the play. So the longtime former Packer, now in his 12th season in the National Football League. And here's a guy who went to the Pro Bowl 10 years ago.
And a good job by Willie Tullis of staying home, because when Ernest Biner reverses his field, he's got a lot of yardage if Tullis isn't the guy who stays home.
Lee Johnson, the barefooted kicker, with Verdan back deep, and it's a very short kick. And it's down to the 37-yard line by Brian Washington. 6:35 left in the first half. Cleveland, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, 6:35 to go first half. Cleveland on top 10-3. And the Indianapolis Colts have the football at their own 41-yard line. 1st and 10. Jack Trudeau, the quarterback. Going to the air on 1st down. Swinging it out to Matt Bouza, and he's taken out of bounds by Matthews. Indianapolis with a terrific offensive line normally, but tonight they're missing Chris Hinton and Kevin Cole. Their 2 tackles, their starting tackles, both are hurt, both are back in Indianapolis, and Ron Solt, the Pro Bowl guard, is still unsigned.
Number 69, Randy Dickerson, is playing in his place, and I guess it all boils down to the Colts have said they're just not going to give Solt more money than Hinton.
Here's Dickerson going nowhere to the right, into his own man to the left, turning the corner now, and making something out of it, making a lot out of it, to the 43-yard line, tripped up by Mike Johnson.
And if Mike Johnson doesn't get Eric Dickerson so long. Now, guys, fumbles or not, I don't know that anybody else playing the game today is capable of doing this.
Take a look at it again. Nothing happening over the right side. He has enough confidence in his speed to come back around. Now he's looking for a bit of a block from Jack Trudeau. Runs into one of his own man, bounces off. There's Trudeau. He's finds somebody, number 48, with a good block. And now watch this, finding a little gap, and you're absolutely right. Mike Johnson saves the 6 points. He gets by that one, and he is gone.
He walks into the end zone if Johnson doesn't bring him down.
He ran 60 yards to get 14. At the 42, 1st down. Beach in motion.
Was convinced that Minifield is still not troubled by that pulled groin, because they keep going right at him.
2nd and 9. Dickerson. Big hole, a gaping one inside the 30, and forget it. Eric Dickerson, touchdown.
You just keep giving it to him, and pretty soon he's going to pop a seam. 9.3 sprinter speed, and he's gone. Interesting what he told us yesterday, Dan. They have that one play where they just hand him the ball. He takes a step up and then just finds his own opening. Now, who else could you give a play like that to but an Eric Dickerson?
That's a 41-yard touchdown run for number 29.
And this may very well be that play. They call it 44 and 45 cutback. And the cutback is just what Dickerson did. Took it to the left of his quarterback, and the Brown defense over-pursued. And that's a mistake that a guy like Dickerson is going to make you pay for.
And against this Browns defense, no man, no runner has run for more than 30 yards since 1986.
Stick around.
Yep. Iasucci boots it through with 5:17 to play in the first half. So Dickerson, the last time they had the ball, he fumbles. And this time, well, now you know why they gave up all of the draft choices and made the deal that sent Bennett to Buffalo in the 3-way transaction. And pay him all that money.
He's calling upstairs to see how they like this for style points also. I'm almost positive this is the play where they simply give him the ball, his zone blocking all the way. He takes a look. If he likes it up the middle, he'll take it up the middle. If he likes it to the outside, either way, he'll take it. That's new to me, but he very quietly talked about this play yesterday to us. Well, I'm quite sure that's it.
It's a play that he actually brought from Los Angeles. It wasn't in the Colts playbook. Dickerson telling us last night that it was a play that he ran with great effectiveness out in Los Angeles, and when he got here, he said, hey guys, I like this, let me do it. And Ron Meyer, being above average in intelligence, says, hey big boy, anything you want to do, get on with it.
Meyer was Dickerson's coach at SMU and was very instrumental in Dickerson's coming to Indianapolis when he wore out his welcome with the Rams.
They had that average backfield down at SMU.
Yeah.
Craig James and Eric Dickerson. What they call it, the Pony Express?
Pony Express at that time.
If you could ever figure a way to get Albert Bentley into this lineup too, maybe give him a little bit of a breather. Bentley is a superb back himself. He's carried the ball one time tonight. As Eric, who had handled it 48 of 55 attempts coming into tonight, he's dominated this game again.
Well, the Colts are an interesting case. They pay all that money to Dickerson. They just spent a ton for Fred Young, and yet they're holding the line with Ron Salt. They don't want to upset the balance along the offensive line in terms of pay scale. Atkinson to kick off, and it's a short kick. It's fielded at the 11-yard line by Herman Fontenot, and he takes it back out to the 28-yard line. So Cleveland begins from there, game tied 10-10. And next week on Monday Night Football at 8 Eastern Time, this is a pretty critical game now for each of these teams. The Raiders 1-2 after yesterday's loss to the Rams, and the Broncos shocked by Kansas City with a mark of 1-2, trailing Seattle in the AFC West. So it's Marcus Allen and John Elway.
And I wonder who will be quarterback for the Raiders. Verdan, another 300-yard game again yesterday.
And sacked 9 times. Biner to the 31-yard line. Ernest picks up about 3. The Colts, and that goes back, of course, to Baltimore. Norm Bulash, 17 years ago, rushed for 198 yards, and Dickerson's on a pace to exceed that because he's got 103 with 4:40 to play in the half.
And this is against a defense that a year ago was second in the NFL against the rush. But it's like Marty Schottenheimer said, you just hope he doesn't explode on the night you get them.
2nd and 7.
I think it's already too late.
Pagel, well, that line's doing a nice job. Biner out to the 43-yard line. Pagel again has all night. Fred Young makes the tackle.
And the Brown offense, even without Bernie Kosar, effectively going up and down the field. Both of these offensive teams moving the ball when you would expect this to be more of a defensive ball game. Anytime you give the quarterback that line of vision up the middle of the field, he's going to complete the passes. Nothing fancy at all that time. There's Bernie on the sidelines. After the play, I'd like to come back to him. I've had a pleasant conversation with him down on the field.
Flecko slightly offside.
Hey, he knows that there's no contact. If he could have gotten back to the other side of the ball without touching anybody, that's perfectly legal, and he tried to do it.
Hard to slither through there at 265 pounds, though, isn't it?
Well, that's
a little ballet maneuver here from the offset position. Oh,
no contact there. Oh, that was smart. The Browns went ahead and snapped the ball before Joe Klecko could get back. There's Bernie in that brace he has on his right arm. He told me that it's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to be back. He was going to start throwing the ball a little bit next week, but the possibility of surgery is still there. They're going to do some more tests next week, and if they determine that that tendon there is torn, they're going to have to do surgery. There's a chance Kosar may be out for the rest of the year.
On 1st and 5, Kevin Mack takes it across the 50 to the 49-yard line.
And Dan, in a talk with Armodell, the owner, he said the one thing he is assured, Bernie Kosar, he doesn't want him to even try to come back until that thing is absolutely perfect. He doesn't want to jeopardize any future, and there he is, the man who they anticipated would be the franchise, and he was just that. And there's Art Modell, one of the more popular owners around, who paid $4 million for this football team back in 1961. Did he get a bargain? Ooh, did he get a bargain? He refers to his quarterbacks, Hagel, Strock, and Slayton. He said that sounds like an NFL law firm.
It does. That might be the law firm, but that man's the franchise. And again, we don't want to run up the scare flag here in Cleveland, but, you know, anytime a quarterback has an injury to something as delicate as an elbow, it takes a while to determine the extremity of the injury. And I think it's just going to be a situation. They want him to start throwing a little bit, see if it swells up, do some more tests, and then make a determination there where they go with it.
Good thing we're blacked out tonight in Cleveland because they didn't sell out 72 hours before kickoff. Otherwise, you would have sent up the scare flag.
Well, you know, Bernie told me it's just not a foregone conclusion that I'm going to be back in 4 to 6 weeks.
Scare flag for us. We have them twice more.
Yep. Second down and 1. Mack, first down, and blocking, and goes all the way to the 23-yard line. Kevin Mack with those specially built-up shoulder pads because of a neck injury.
No matter what, they're going to continue to be a force with plays like this. Here's Mack over the middle, just a checkoff man. And then kind of spooky coming with that
watch his move.
Shoulder pads of his.
Yeah, there's a real move.
Ellis didn't even want him.
Why go around a guy when you can go over him and through him? Willie Tullis.
235 pounds he is.
That's the ultimate Mack truck.
You're right.
From the 23 on first down. He goes back the other way, and they set up the backside screen to Newsom, and that's broken up by Dwayne Bickett, and number 50.
And that might have been a touchdown. Dwayne Bickett played it perfectly. Blockers out in front. A well set up play. Everyone on the Colt defense is away from it. And Dwayne Bickett makes the play. Boy, that's nice.
Number 1 draft pick himself 4 years ago, very high in the draft. You don't hear very often. A lot of these players are a little more than just football players. He was a 3-time academic All-American with a 3.67 grade point average. Kind of proud of him out of USC.
Come to the 2-minute warning at Cleveland. It'll be second down and 13 when we come back. 2 minutes to go in the first half. The Colts and the Browns tied 10-10. The famous dog pound. They'd eat those guys in Korea.
I wonder what the Phoenix Cardinals would charge for those seats.
As our cameraman, the only way we could get Richie Westline field level camera position, we had to dress him up as a dog. Way to go, Richie.
It wasn't hard.
Second and 13 from the 26. Newsom.
And that wasn't kind.
To the 16. Bickett and Odom in on the tackle.
You got a mean streak in you a little bit.
I've been beat around too much.
Richie's willing to go along with it.
I'd have a mean streak if I had to cover that guy. There's a shot at Richie. We're a little concerned about his security down there, so we had to dress him up in a little Cleveland Browns garb. But he fits right in, though, I have to admit.
Throwing a dog bone, he'll go anywhere.
I wonder how many milk bones he'll have down the back of his shirt before it's all over.
Hey, it gets a little hairy down there if this game gets lopsided. Indianapolis on top.
Sitting down there is worth golden time, isn't it?
I think it's safe to say there's nothing else in the National Football League that quite resembles the dog pound, and this is the well-dressed part of it.
There's not a Bichon Frise in that crowd, I can assure you that. Man, those are junkyard dogs.
Not much Dom Perignon was consumed down in the dog pound before the game tonight.
Nor Chardonnay. Old linebacker working the area. They do have fun, don't they?
That must be Steve Martin's cousin. Okay.
Third down and 4 for Cleveland. Pagel out of the shotgun. And picked off at the goal line. No! He got it back for the touchdown, and Indianapolis is screaming.
Simultaneous possession goes to the offensive player
every time.
It looks like that.
Every time. That's exactly what it is, Frank. dual possession. Simultaneous goes to the team that had the ball at the beginning of the play, and that's the Cleveland Browns.
And that's Daniel right there with Webster Slaughter. Right. Furious, and obviously this is a play to be looked at upstairs.
Well, again, though, here we go. The play was made by the officials. They're going to have to see enough to overturn it. Webster Slaughter going to go up, but look at Daniel go up first. And Daniel has the ball first.
They come down together when the feet hit the ground. That's when the catch is made.
That's right. It's nothing until the feet hit the ground. There's no question that Eugene Daniel had his hands on the ball first. Now you're going to see it here again. Now Daniel has it, and Slaughter goes after it.
That's no question. Simultaneous possession. The receiver gets the football.
Oh, boy, that's tough to call. That is, at the end of the play, it's simultaneous possession. Right there, I think Daniel has the ball, and Slaughter takes it away as they tumble to the ground. But that made it legal right there.
And Barr kicks it through.
After the extra point, after a play is run, that's the end of it. No appeal, no nothing. That's a touchdown, Cleveland.
That's a good effort by Webster Slaughter to even get in that play. And before that could become an interception, Daniel has to come down with it. Slaughter got into it, and it wasn't even questioned.
I know there are a lot of unhappy people in Indianapolis and Colts fans everywhere, but again, the ruling is very black and white. If in the determination of the official, the ball is held jointly by both the defender and the receiver, it always stays in possession of the offensive team, and that is the ruling here, and it's a touchdown for Cleveland.
But they're like joint checking accounts with your wife.
I don't think the folks in Indianapolis are buying this, but those are the rules. Again, well played by both guys, but you have to give Slaughter credit for staying with it and going in there and fighting for his share of the ball. That's nothing more than desire. But boy, you look at it from that angle, and it looks like Daniel's ball all the way. It sure is easy from up here with a whole bank full of monitors and slow motion and everything else. And if I'm Eugene Daniel, you better believe I'm mad. You make a play like that and end up having a touchdown thrown against you. That's enough to turn anyone's disposition a little sour.
There's Webster Slaughter. That call was made by the side judge, who had the best view of it, Doyle Jackson. Slaughter with 3 catches already tonight, and it's 17-10 Cleveland.
Good effort by Cleveland to come back after Dickerson had literally exploded. 2 big plays, brought them to a tie, and Cleveland came right back.
Johnson to kick off. Bentley fields at the 6. Tackled at the 24-yard line from the reverse angle. We'll take a look at it.
Let's look at that touchdown play again on the reverse angle. Daniel with the inside position goes up for the football, and all the ref can do is come in and see that they both have possession. You can see he came all the way in and looked over the back of both of the players and then makes the call. That man in that position could really make no other call, because by the time he got there, from the angle that he was coming in, the back to the play of one of the players, I don't see where he could have seen anything else.
So the Colts now trailing by 7 at the 24-yard line. 1:24 to play in the first half. And movement on the left side, and again that's Patton, and he is taking the spot with the 2 tackles who are injured, Kevin Call and Chris Hinton. It's the makeshift line.
Illegal 65, false start.
Illegal whatever.
Illegal something.
Yeah, we get the message.
That's Joel Patton, that time having to go against Carl Hairston, jumping offsides.
1st and 15 now with 1:23, and a reminder, the big one, Oklahoma against USC, also LSU against Ohio State. As the Tigers take on the Buckeyes, check your local listings, regional coverage. It begins with our college football starting at 3:30 Eastern time, Saturday.
A lot of excitement this past Saturday.
Yeah. Now what happened at Ann Arbor this Saturday, Frank? I missed it.
You caught the tail end of it.
You accuse me of having a mean streak. Well, you 2 go right for the throat. Okay, so they're 0-2. Is that what you heard? My alma mater is 0-2.
They played a great game against number 1 Miami.
Oh, yeah, it's too late, Frank.
Sorry I brought it up. First and 15. Dickerson leaning in.
What do you say? Do you want me to do it again?
And Trudeau throws a wobbly pass and is lucky it's not picked off. Overthrows Booza.
And he's hurt.
Yep, Sam Clancy is the man who came in to deck him. Now it'll be interesting with Trudeau down. You would think Hogeboom would be first off the bench, but Ron Meyer has indicated he'll go to a rookie, Chris Chandler, off the bench.
Sam Clancy looped all the way around from the inside and just buried himself into the midsection of Jack Trudeau. A lot of line stunning going on by the Browns, and Trudeau is still down.
And there's Chandler warming up, the rookie out of Washington.
Clancy's going to come all the way around. He started on the inside. And watch him drive Trudeau right into the ground. And Trudeau actually hit his head on the knee of one of his teammates. See Clancy there on the nose? There he works all the way around to the right. And I wonder if maybe it's something to the head as Trudeau hits his head going down. Watch it.
He's running off the field, and you just have to hope, if you're a Colts fan, that he just had the wind knocked out of him. Clancy had that shoulder right in the stomach, and that's usually what happens. And you think you're dying, but in about 30 or 40 seconds, you're okay once again. Funny spot to put a rookie into a ball game.
It is Chandler on second down and 15. The rookie, he was picked in the third round. He was the first quarterback drafted last spring.
But I mean, can you believe that he's playing instead of Hogeboom?
And he's playing in the closed end where it's almost impossible to hear him, and the crowd knows it. The dog pound goes crazy, and you better give it to Dickerson. That's nice and safe and easy. And he takes it to the 22. It's safe and easy, but the problem is you're in a 2-minute drill here. And there's Hogeboom, and there's the starter on opening day in his third year with Indianapolis, but right now, number 3 on your depth chart.
And that has to be one of the amazing fall from graces we've seen in quite a while, that in a pressure situation like this, a little over a minute left and a half and deep in the enemy's territory trying to work their way out, Gary Hogeboom, a guy with a wealth of experience, is on the bench yielding to a rookie. And a game that the Colts must win to keep from going to 0-3.
Trudeau's all right. I think he just had the wind knocked out of him. I think we'll see him very quickly.
And we may never see Hogeboom again.
I mean, see him somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's the case. You have to wonder about his future in Indianapolis if he's that far, and I dare not say that far, in Ron Meyer's doghouse.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, Earl Morrall live at halftime, and a look at backup quarterbacks. And there was the ultimate backup in 1972, and Miami's perfect season. He took over for Greasy and helped guide them to that perfect mark. Trudeau took a shot to the ribs, and minor injury. He'll be back in, is the report from the bench. But for the moment, it's Chandler on 3rd and 12, going deep and going to Verdan, and he makes the catch inside the 35, and he's finally tackled down to the 25 as he beats Will Hill.
And Hanford Dixon didn't even bother to touch Verdan. This isn't college football. You got to touch a guy when he's down.
Good call also from the bench. Let's take a look at it again. Verdan going against 29. Hanford Dixon. I think Dixon, who is a salty old pro, thought they're not going to let this rookie put it up high. They're going to just control the ball game, and Verdan ran right by him. And then he tacks on a few more because Dixon kind of casually came up to him.
Watch Dixon here not even bother to make the play. All he has to do is reach down and touch him. He's so mad at himself for not having made the play, he just lets him go.
I think he was stunned they would come with that kind of a call with Chris Chandler, the rookie from Washington, putting me on a fly. How dare you go against me like that?
Will Hill makes the tackle. They talked about Verdan and the speed and what he can do for Indianapolis, and that's the reason he started tonight along with Brooks. And Chris Chandler will forever remember his first professional pass, a 53-yard completion.
That's a gutsy call from the sidelines.
So now at the 24-yard line, Schottenheimer watching his team trying to hold on to a 7-point lead. 58 seconds to play in the half.
And you hear Marty Schottenheimer telling his defensive team, forget it. That play is over. You gave up the big one. I'm not happy about it, but stiffen here and everything will be all right.
And after the timeout, Indianapolis has 1 timeout remaining in the half. 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Chandler with a pump fake. And then throws too high for Brooks.
Well, that's a smart play, Al. He threw that out of bounds. He saw that he had no coverage. He's being chased by Carl Harrison, and rather than force the ball, some poise by the rookie as he just throws it away on the sideline.
Chandler, the rookie from Washington and a third-round draft pick, was a good runner up at Washington, good scrambler. Perhaps much better than that at scrambling than Jack Trudeau, who is just a drop-back kind of a passer. Chandler will give you a little extra element of offense in there because he can move around.
2nd and 10 at the 24. Cleveland leading by 7. 51 seconds to go in the half. Lofting it into the corner, and again simultaneous, but out of bounds. Minifield and Brooks.
And played just about as well as you could play at that time by Frank Minifield. A timing pattern completely as Billy Brooks is just going to get to the sideline, but the Browns, as they are just about always in that man-to-man bump and run, Minifield is just right there and played it perfectly and clearly out of bounds by a couple yards.
He did. He was right with Brooks all the way. When Brooks looked back for the ball, that's the only time Minifield looked. He knew he was in position. He could read it in the eyes of Brooks that the ball was on the way. He was perfectly timed, and he avoided any kind of infraction.
3rd and 10 from the 24. Everybody, including Dickerson, goes into the pattern. And over the middle, it's tipped. It's picked off at the 15 by Felix Wright. Wright out past the 30, being chased by Brooks, and Brooks nails him at the 50-yard line. Intended for Bentley.
And I'm going to accuse the Colts of being a little greedy. On 3 successive plays, they try to go deep with the football rather than maybe running with Dickerson. They had plenty of time, but they went deep on 3 separate occasions with a rookie quarterback. And I think Ron Meyer in retrospect is going to look back at that and maybe wish he'd have been a little more conservative.
Chandler throwing off the wrong foot under pressure. Dane Gash was there to knock it into the air, and it was picked off by Felix Wright. But again, Chandler looking like a rookie on that play, throwing off the wrong foot. He had time to step back into the pocket, deliver it. He didn't do it.
I really have to question the 3 consecutive passes trying to force it downfield. Boy, you're asking a lot of any quarterback in that situation, much less a rookie.
Cleveland has 2 timeouts remaining from the 49. Pagel out of the shotgun. Underthrows Webster Slaughter. 2nd and 10 now with 27 seconds left in the half. And the Browns on top 17-10. Weathers coming in. He is the 4th wide receiver as they work out of the shotgun here, trying to at least get into field goal range. And Barr's range is around the mid-40s.
So they're going to have to cover another 20 yards, get down around the 30-yard line, at least, to get into Matt Barr's range.
2nd and 10 from the 49-yard line. Pagel, who's been protected well all half, finds Langhorne, but he's stopped immediately by Terry Wright at the 47-yard line. The clock is still running. Cleveland has 2 timeouts, but they don't use one here.
Oh, real mistake. Oh, what a bad mistake.
They had a timeout to burn, and finally the clock stops here with 3 seconds, but they squandered an extra timeout.
And they're out of field goal range. They should have called a timeout, got themselves regrouped, tried to get something to get into Matt Barr's range, because he can only kick it about 47. They don't like to give it to him much more than 50.
Barr on a grass field like the one here, never more than 50 yards, and in his 10th season in the league, his range, as I say, in the mid-40s. Last week he kicked a 47-yarder.
Well, Al, that's a rookie mistake made by a veteran quarterback. Pagel's a 7-year guy. That's really inexcusable.
On 4th down, the final play is a prayer. Webster Slaughter is there in the middle of the Colts, and it's picked off by Tuller. So that'll look good on Willie's stat sheet as the half ends on an interception. So the Cleveland Browns came into this one without having scored a touchdown, and going with Pagel at quarterback. They scored 2 touchdowns and they had a field goal. And at the half, it's 17-10 Cleveland. And we'll return to Cleveland after this message from the National Football League and a word from your local station.
In Cleveland, we've got a team that's
a 3-hopper down to the 7-yard line, fielded by Herman Fontenot. And he runs it back out to about the 23. And this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Nissan Cars and Trucks. Built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. And by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. The taste adults have grown to love. They're great. Flag down on the kickoff. Ben Dreith has been a busy guy tonight. And he tells us illegal use of the hands against Cleveland.
Receiving team illegal block number 50. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Illegal block in the back on Van Waiters, who was one of their high draft choices, drafted in the 3rd round. There he is.
Things pretty even in the total yardage department. The Browns a little more effective passing the ball, but look at the imbalance in the rushing game. All the Colts, and of course that's all Eric Dickerson. But again, we're back to that scoreboard. The team with the ball also has the lead.
Penalty sends it back to the 14-yard line. And from there, Kevin Mack carries it out to the 20 for a pickup of about 6. Indianapolis got on the board first tonight on a Biasucci field goal. And if you were with us earlier, Dickerson actually went in for a touchdown. Called back on a holding penalty on Bill Brooks. They had to settle for 3. Then Newsom caught a 14-yard pass from Pagel. Barr kicked the field goal. Dickerson tied the game on a beautiful 41-yard run. The difference in the game right now is that simultaneous catch by Webster Slaughter near the end of the first half. He and Eugene Daniel both going into the end zone with it. And Slaughter, because it was simultaneous, with Daniel given credit for the touchdown. Mack close to a first down and might have it as he gets out to the 24-yard line.
Clearly a forward progress deal here as he was driven back pretty effectively by the Colts defense. Kevin Mack getting the call early, and he has earned those 43 yards. Hasn't had a whole lot of success getting outside. He got outside once early, but most of his labors this evening have been between the tackles, and that's nothing new for the big fullback, Kevin Mack, rather.
Oh, and how Marty Schottenheimer would like to come out and be able to run the football like they have not been able to in the previous 2 games. Not only controlling the ball game, keeping your offense on the field, but keeping Eric Dickerson off the field. And they need that much.
3rd and inches. It's sort of shocking in a way. Last year, there were a couple of scoring changes made in midweek. You may have read where the Browns gained only 27 yards against the Jets. It was revised to 36. But still, with Biner and Mack in the backfield, that's almost unheard of. Here are 2 guys who each gained 1,000 yards plus in 1985. 3rd and inches from the 24. And there's Biner and Mack lined up, and Mack behind Biner with a first down as he takes it out to the 28-yard line. Dan Fike paved the way. And Pryor makes the tackle. So Mack is carried on the first 3 plays of the second half.
And that time gives some credit to his running buddy, Ernest Biner, who got in with a pretty effective lead block. And the Browns doing just what they want to do. Getting some first downs, moving it out of their own territory. And they've overcome the penalty pretty effectively that they had on the opening kickoff here in the second half to put them deep in a hole.
From the 28. Cleveland ahead by 7 early in the 3rd quarter. Pagel draw to Mack, his 4th straight carry, and he is stopped out at the 31-yard line. A gain of 3. Joe Klecko makes the tackle, and the crowd wants a flag for a late hit, and they don't get it by Fred Young. Klecko made the tackle, and Klecko gingerly walks off.
He's going to be alternating a lot with Byron Darby. I think that Joe Klecko, who was released by the Jets because they thought he physically could not continue after a bad knee operation. Knee was injured in 1986, but he has been strong against the run. Not that good against the pass rush, so they bring in a Byron Darby anticipating pass by Cleveland.
2nd and 8 from the 30-yard line. To the near side, Brennan. Nice slip move, gets into Colts territory, and out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Driven out by Fred Robinson.
Pretty simple pass route, but Willie Tullis, in his efforts to come up and make the tackle on Brian Brennan, just simply gets a shot on Brennan and falls off. There's nothing very fancy about this. Reading the play well is Tullis, and in the position to make the tackle, just doesn't do so and slips off. Fred Robinson has to come over from the safety and save the play.
Browns have it at the 49-yard line after a gain of 22. 1st and 10. Fake to Mack. Then over the middle, and it was Barry Krause who wasn't looking. It hit his back. It was Derek Cannell, the number 2 tight end, the man who was the intended receiver. And Krause gets a, look what I never saw, past defense.
Just a quick read. They were doubling both outside receivers, and Pagel reads it very well.
Talk about the guy in the numbers.
Cannell just didn't give him an angle. And that just shows you the backup quarterback, Pagel. I'm sure Kozar would have waited for a moment or so, and had that been an Ozzie Newsome, it would have been a different pattern. He had the right man. They called the right play, and they just didn't execute.
2nd and 10 as they send Biner in motion to the outside. Pagel looks over the middle again, and this time finds Webster Slaughter for a 1st down. As he gets to the 36-yard line, Mike Pryor gets credit for the tackle. 11:45 to play, 3rd period. Browns marching with the opening kickoff of the 2nd half, and on top 17-10.
How many times do you see a team trying to protect the lead? They get the opening kickoff, they get a penalty right off the bat, and what happens is they just get 3 plays, have to punt it away, and all of a sudden you have a tie ball game. The Browns right now looking every bit of a playoff team, taking this 1st half kickoff and putting together a darn good drive now into Colts territory.
Langhorne in motion. Almost had movement on the left side. Ernest Biner, flag down.
I think that was Tennell, the tight end, that moved on the far side of the formation.
'81.
Illegal motion. 2 men were moving at the same time. 5 yards. 1st down.
Old Ben. There's a picture of Ben Dreis somewhere smiling, taken back in the 50s sometime, I think.
Oh, does he look like an official, though? If you were going to do a caricature one, there he is, and a good one.
Yeah, he must have treated you with a lot of respect.
Well, you know, one thing about Ben with that stern countenance, when he made a call, you didn't feel that it was arguable. You didn't waste any time going up and looking for any sympathy.
1st and 15 from the 41. Side armor to Mack. A lot of room. Whoa. Takes it to the 27, loses the ball. It's loose.
Colts have it if it's going to be ruled a fumble.
They do. It is ruled a fumble, and Donnell Thompson comes up with it.
Mack was making no effort whatsoever to avoid the tackle. He put the nose down, tried to barrel in to the defensive back coming up to hit him. Dan Fike came in, put a pop on him. Dan Fike out in front. They all collided together, but Mack's making no move at all.
I think we're going to see that it's Mike Pryor, number 39, the guy that actually gets in there and causes a fumble.
Look at him carry it in the hand. Now he covers it up.
Yeah, that's Pryor, 39, that submarines and gets in and puts a shoulder pad right on the ball. So a good drive by the Browns is wasted. Good play by Pryor and Thompson, and the Colts have a little life here. And the Browns, Minifield, and Dixon trying to get the dog pound whipped up.
From the 23 with Trudeau back in the game after he was hit in the ribs at the end of the 1st half. Protected well, going deep for Brooks, and he's covered well. He had Minifield behind him and Matthews in front of him. Intended for Verdan.
I would think that by now the Colts would figure out that Minifield is healthy. And yet they continue to work deep on Frank Minifield. You're going to hit one every now and then. You're going to do that against any corner. But more often than not, challenging this guy is not going to be fruitful. There's a whole string of Pro Bowls for Henford, Dixon, and for number 31, Frank Minifield, and there's a reason for that. Probably the best pair of corners in the game today, and the Colts continue to go after him.
2nd and 10 from the 23-yard line. Draw, Dickerson for a yard. Mike Johnson, number 59, who was showing blitz, stayed back to make the tackle.
I think there's little doubt that Trudeau was checking that off. Read a defense that they put up on the board that gives him the opportunity to check off, and they don't give him a whole lot of them. But that one, you saw the adjustment as Dickerson leaned in to get the call, and they pick up only a yard.
Now the Browns with 6 defensive backs in for 3rd and 9. Trudeau out of the shotgun. Pagel's the man who's had the big night, the former Colt. And now he comes up to take the snap under center. And he gives it to Dickerson. And Dickerson to the 29, and a marker is thrown. So with 6 DBs in there, the Colts elect to keep it on the ground. And a motion call against the Colts.
And I think they're going to get Dickerson for not being set. That might be 2 guys in motion again.
Illegal motion. 2 men moving at the same time. They decline the penalty. It's 4th down.
Trudeau was one of those men moving.
No, I think watch this guy go in motion right here, but watch Dickerson set up back here. Watch him keep moving his feet. He's never going to get set. Trudeau comes up underneath center. Here goes the motion man, but look at Dickerson. He never sets himself, still moving his legs, and that's 2 men in motion at the same time.
I wonder if that could have been an automatic as well, because Dickerson was trying to adjust.
Albert Bentley was the other man who was moving. Ron Stark's kick fielded by McNeil at the 26-yard line, and a beautiful run back to the 50-yard line as he brings it back 24 yards to midfield. He is stopped there by Chris Good. 9:22 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Cleveland has the ball at the 50. And on top, 17-10, the Ice Cube.
Has little and no regard for a very small body out there with a lot of big folks.
Only in Cleveland.
Should have saved this for Halloween night.
Only in the outfield in Cleveland. Yes, the dog pound.
Well, they've got reason to bark. The Browns are up. Made a mistake, and the Colts didn't do anything with it.
Browns have it, 50-yard line, early 3rd quarter. Cleveland on top by 7. Langhorne in motion. And it's Mack who fumbled the last time he touched the football. He's tackled at the 43-yard line. Well, earlier Ozzie Newsome caught a pass. He has now caught passes in 130 consecutive games. Steve Largent is the record holder with 155. He extends that streak yesterday, and he also surpasses Charlie Joyner here for most career yardage. And Largent, who holds just about every receiving record, number of receptions, receiving yards, 50 catch seasons, 1,000-yard seasons, just keeps on going. 12-1-6-7 after play yesterday. Viner takes it to the 41-yard line. He'll be taking his future passes, however, as you look again at Largent's numbers, from Jeff Kemp, because Dave Craig separated a shoulder yesterday.
And was that in the Denver game earlier this year that Largent took that tremendous shot and got a concussion and was knocked out and didn't play the rest of the game and now came back and broke the record? He has redefined the term possession receiver. Not really a game breaker, but if it's anywhere near him, considered a caught ball.
3rd and 1 from the 41. Herman Fontenot in there on a wing. And a nice move by Mack, who hesitated, moved to his left, and picks up the 1st down at the 36-yard line.
Mack is just relentless. He was stopped at the line of scrimmage. Just put it down, bowled ahead, 235 pounds, and he just looks for somebody to hit.
Watch him read the block. Watch Klecko go upfield. That's Rakosi, the center, working on Klecko. And that time Kevin Mack waited for Klecko to declare himself. He went right, then Mack jumped to the left and picks up the 1st down. That's a smart back that's going to read his blockers at the line of scrimmage and then make his break.
And a good job by Rakosi, the controversial one at center.
Tim Manoa is in the game at running back. That's Manoa with the football. And he takes it to the 30-yard line. When Mack was hurt on opening day in Kansas City, Manoa came in and did a great job, picking up 70 yards and 14 carries. Manoa out of Penn State, second-year running back. Cleveland's rushing last week, 36, which was a revised figure, as we mentioned, and tonight more than double.
And Al mentioned that job by Manoa. Keep in mind, that was a 6-3 win by the Cleveland Browns, and that meant that there were times late in that game they had to control the ball, and it was all Tim Manoa.
Mack is on the bench for the moment, taking a breather. Manoa is the running back, and Biner is in the slot. And the pass is too high for Brennan. He's covered by Eugene Daniel. And it will set up a 3rd down and 5 with 6:29 to play in the 3rd quarter. Eugene Daniel, he's a good cornerback, but he's a guy who's prone to getting burned, and he was burned last week by Dennis Gentry. Bid on an inside move. Gentry went to the outside. See you later.
And they also figure you can go play action against him. Browns have tried it a couple times tonight. They come back with their 4 wide receivers. Their key possession man, of course, for years now has been Brian Brennan.
3rd and 5. Daniel covers Slaughter here. Pagel looks the other way and throws to Langhorne at the 25-yard line. He makes the catch on a little slant in. 1st down and a flag down after the play at the 25-yard line.
Fine effort by Langhorne. Keeping the concentration, eyes on the ball, getting 1st down yardage with it.
Well, that's the pattern that it really aids the entire play if your quarterback has a cannon. And Pagel has a cannon.
5-yard face mask on a defense. 27. 5 yards. 1st down.
Terry Wright.
You need velocity on the football to complete this pass, and Mike Pagel provides plenty of that. Reggie Langhorne gets in and makes a play, and how can you really fault the coverage of Chris Good? He's right on top of Langhorne. Can't play it much better than that, and yet a completion.
Stripe said 27. He meant 37. Not right. It was Good. At the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. This is Biner. And he takes it to the 18-yard line. He is stopped there by Cliff Odom, number 93, the inside linebacker.
What a pair of backs the Browns have, and Biner and Mack, and when Marty Schottenheimer talks about them, it's almost with affection. Because they're always going to be there. They're always going to give you 100%. Loves the way they work. And when they get it going on all 8 cylinders, it's kind of awesome. And this offensive line performing better than it has in the previous 2 games. Certainly, that's true, Dan.
Certainly the best they've played all year.
2nd and 8. Biner in motion. And Pagel throws incomplete. Intended for Brennan. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Odom knocked Brennan down. 5:10 to play in the 3rd period.
Brennan again, who likes to work underneath. He does not have the speed of Reggie Langhorne, but he works well underneath, and this one just overthrown. And a lot of that being that Pagel is only 6'2", and he's working behind a line that's averages about 6'6" across there. He sometimes has a hard time finding his receiver and often has to throw between men. That one he just overthrew, and a dangerous pass it was.
4 wide receivers, including Gerald McNeil in there. Brennan goes in motion on 3rd down and 8. Over the middle, it's caught by McNeil at the 11-yard line.
I don't think that's going to be good enough for a 1st down.
Chris Good with the coverage. They have to get to the 10. They are shy by a yard.
And a field goal.
Barr coming in.
And a field goal in this situation doesn't hurt the Browns at all. Up by 7. If this field goal attempt is successful, a 10-point lead in a game like this has to come away with points down here.
And Matt Barr from this position on the field is almost automatic.
19-yard line is where Johnson will put it down. 29-yard attempt for Barr with 4:28 to play in the period. He's already made a 21-yarder. And he can add 3 more points, and a marker is down. As Barr goes down, Eugene Daniel came in and ran into him, and they'll assess that on the kickoff.
I think Daniel thought he had a shot at that ball, a legitimate shot, but he collides with Matt Barr and draws the flag.
Well, now hold on a second, because they may have an opportunity here for a 1st down. They could take the points off the board. Let's see.
The line judge said he was blocked into the kicker. We're going to pick up the flag. It's 3 points.
Okay.
That settles that. Daniel blocked into Matt Barr.
Sam Clancy was the Cleveland Brown. And keep in mind, the ruling is, let's take a look at, here's Clancy right here. Here's Daniel. Watch him go to the outside, but watch Clancy give him a shove. There's Clancy on the shove. That propels Daniel upfield into Barr. Thus, they're going to pick up the flag. The field goal will count. The Browns lead it by 10.
As the Los Angeles Raiders tackle John Elway and the defending AFC champion Broncos on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Third quarter in Cleveland, 4 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in the period. Lee Johnson to kick off. The Browns trying to go 2-1 on top by 10. Indianapolis trying to avoid being 0-3. It's dropped at the 10-yard line and then picked up again by Roy Banks. And he is stopped back at the 12.
That was a questionable move on the part of Banks. That ball could have gone out of the end zone. We'll bring it out to the 20. A tough ball to handle, or it could have gone out of bounds. We might have had to kick it again with the penalty. We'll be back.
Just if you start 3-0, 3/4 of the time you'll get to the playoffs. 2-1 about half the time. 1-2 only about 1-5, and 0-3 3%. And that's the dilemma which could be facing Indianapolis as Dickerson gets stopped for a loss back at the 15-yard line by Darrell Sims, number 99.
We talk about the reclamations. There is another one on the part of the Cleveland Browns.
And just to follow up on that last point, Frank, as you can see, only one team that began a season 0-3 in a 16-game season has gone to the playoffs. The 81 Jets went as a wild card. So Indianapolis would be faced with that dilemma, and they'd be 3 games back of Buffalo in the East. On 2nd and 13, it's Dickerson just getting back to the line of scrimmage where he's met by Mike Johnson.
And when you do that in the outfield in Cleveland, you're right in front of the Dogs, and you really bring this crowd into it.
The defensive line right now, the Cleveland Browns, these last 2 plays, has just destroyed the front wall of the Colts. I mean, every guy in a blue jersey these last 2 plays has been moving backwards. And right now, it's an inspired Brown defense that's doing all the penetrating.
And again, it's a Colt offensive line minus its 2 starting tackles and minus the guard Ron Salt, a holdout. 3rd and 13 from the 15-yard line. Trudeau gets pressured and has to throw on the run and throw it away. And so the Brown defense makes short work of that aborted Indianapolis drive, and Cleveland with a 10-point lead will get the ball back.
Clancy again, flushing Trudeau out of the pocket, forcing him to get rid of the football. Momentum swinging rapidly to the Cleveland Browns.
And again, their offensive team will get to work right down their favorite direction, heading right into the pound.
Crowd chanting cube, cube for McNeil, the ice cube standing at the 40.
And he almost broke the last chance he had.
Ron Stark, whose last kick was a line drive. This one a shorter kick. McNeil fields at the 46-yard line. Flag is thrown as he runs it back to the 46 of Indianapolis, and then 2 more flags are thrown as well.
And I think these aren't related. We may have 2 separate fouls.
39-yard kick, 8-yard return.
I don't think Cleveland is planning on any of these going in their favor.
No.
They're huddling back at their own 20.
Yep, that's a pretty good indication.
Receiving team number 42, illegal block in the back. That's a 10-yard penalty, and it's a timeout.
Tim Manoa.
Well, I guess the timeout was just for good measure.
Yeah.
Let's look at the right side. There's Tim Manoa. Clearly a block in the back, and Cleveland is going to have some good field position. They moved it back, but they've still got the lead.
So 20-10. And the Browns have the ball at their own 42-yard line, 1st and 10. 2:35 left in the third quarter. Takes to Mack, and the throw. Langhorne makes the catch at the 50-yard line for a gain of 8. Tackled by Freddie Robinson. Next week, Denver, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. And our matchup on Monday night, the Los Angeles Raiders, 1-2, against the Denver Broncos with a mark of 1-2. And in that AFC West, they're all bunched up with Seattle 2-1, Denver, the Raiders, Kansas City, and San Diego all 1-2. Second down, 1.5 yards from the 49. And Kevin Mack close to a first down, stopped by John Hand, number 78.
Got the wave going here in Cleveland Stadium, which is almost full, but the Dogs don't do the wave. There they come.
Yep. There they go. Up on their paws.
Some dogs only do certain tricks. Might have taken a long time to get them to figure out the wave down there.
Don't beat a dead dog.
I don't know, but you got to love it. I mean, you have to really.
Unique.
We'll let it suffice it to say they're a little unique here in Cleveland.
Pagel from the 48-yard line. Finer out of bounds at the 32.
Oh, but what a well-thrown football over Fred Young. That outside position, the new linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. There is Fred. Whether he took the right drop or not, we don't really know, but we also know he's 6'1" out there. And that ball just went over his outstretched fingertips, but a fine pass by Pagel. New spot for Fred Young.
The quarter has belonged to Cleveland. 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Mack, he gets by Klecko and then is able to slither inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Klecko couldn't hold him.
John Hand is a little slow getting up. I think the punishing running game of the Browns is starting to take a toll. I think we're starting to see Mack and Biner breaking some tackles. Kevin Mack especially tonight, who's been punishing in his running. But we saw that possession graphic about how it's been all Browns. Not only have they had the football this whole quarter, but they've had it in Colts territory almost the whole quarter.
2nd and 7 from the 29-yard line. Half a minute to go in the third period. And Pagel hits Slaughter for a first down. And while the Browns are back in gear with their running game, let's not forget about Mike Pagel, because he too is very much the story of the game.
Oh, and it's an old adage, but when you can run the football, you can do anything with it. And the Browns have started to move the ball behind that huge offensive line that averages about 280 and 6'6". And they are beginning to control the line of scrimmage, and you can throw those little short possession passes, little play action here. They can do just about whatever they want to do now offensively. More than that, they're keeping the ball away from Dickerson.
At the 19, 1st and 10 Cleveland. He runs into Mack on a busted play, and the tackle is made by Thompson on a play that will end the third quarter.
That one could have been a changeup by Pagel, and nobody, or at least somebody, didn't get it.
Pretty good numbers for a man who really hasn't played since 1985. And at that time, he was a Colt. Browns by 10 after 3. Back after this message about an upcoming show on ABC and a word from your local station. We had to figure out a way to get Dan into the picture. We finally did it.
Wide angle lens. Our producer and director, are they innovative or what? The reverse angle. The biggest angle. The widest angle. Whole lot of new angles. Nothing new about the Browns angle, though. They're still in Colt territory.
Start the fourth quarter at the 23-yard line, second down and 15. And Pagel has it dropped by Langhorne.
Pagel has had a good night, but that's one you know that a Kozar would not miss.
Little scuffle here.
And Indianapolis waited until they got away from the pound to get into a duel. But they're a little bit relieved to get away from that outfield.
They're messing with the wrong guy when they're messing with Ben. Look at Ben. He's got. That's not gentle, Ben.
It's Cody Risen and Donnell Thompson who got into it.
Ooh. Oh! Thompson with a quick left to Risen. Oh, and a couple forehead smashes.
Third down and 15, tip incomplete. Freddie Robinson got his hand on it, and now Barr will have to come in, and this field goal will come from about 41 yards out. Robinson breaking up the play. So Johnson comes into hold. Barr to attempt one, which will be spotted at the 31-yard line. Barr tonight has tried two and has been successful on each occasion from 21 and 29.
You know, as Cleveland continues to dominate here, you have to keep in mind that Indianapolis is only a couple of plays by Dickerson out of this ball game, no matter what happens here.
Barr's kick, good. So he's 3 for 3.
Well, I don't know what kind of words of encouragement or wisdom this guy, Ron Meyer, can give to his offensive team, but they have just been non-existent here in the third quarter and now early on in the fourth quarter. And defensively, the Colts have not played bad at all. Forced the Browns even deep in their own territory to settle for some field goals, and somehow offensively the Colts have got to get something going or they're going to be out of this game before they even know it.
That's been the case in the previous two games. In their loss to Houston, 17-14, their loss to Chicago, 17-13. It's been the defense that played well, the offense that just could not generate. And again, I think it goes right back to an offensive line that is not giving Eric Dickerson, who has 110 yards, they're just not giving him those gaps and those seams to exploit.
And not giving him time, not giving him enough carries in that third quarter in particular when they had the ball for 2 series, 3 and out on each occasion. Dominated by Cleveland, they lead by 13. Meyer looking 0-3 in the face, and that would be a bad 0-3 because 2 of those losses would have come at home. Buffalo would be 3-0. Indianapolis, by virtue of finishing first last year, has to play a very tough schedule.
And we saw that last graphic where Indianapolis has only gained 3 yards in the third quarter, and it's a proven fact. The teams that only gain 3 yards in the third quarter, 98% of those lose the ballgame.
Oh yeah? How do you know?
I just made it up, like all our other graphics.
Yeah, it was 96%. Come on, get it straight.
That's why you do the play-by-play.
Johnson sends it to Bentley. 10. Now past the 20, and Bentley is out of bounds at the 28-yard line early in the fourth quarter. So the Cleveland Browns on top now by 13. And just to recap, Dickerson had a touchdown call back on a penalty. Indianapolis settled for a Biasucci field goal. Then Newsome caught a touchdown pass from Pagel. Cleveland led 7-3. Second quarter, Barr made it 10-3, and then Dickerson tied the game on a 41-yard beauty. But Slaughter simultaneously catching the ball with Daniel to make it 17-10 Cleveland at the half. From the 28, Trudeau throws over the middle and underneath and hits Mark Boyer, and he gets wrestled down at the 36-yard line. Then in the third quarter, Cleveland dominating in terms of possession. Barr with a 29-yard field goal to make it 20-10. And then here in the fourth quarter, a 40-yard Barr field goal to make it 23-10. Gain of 8 on the catch by Boyer. Second down and 2. Colts from the 36. Dickerson seeks the first down and has it. And he's tackled by Wright at the 42-yard line.
Again, saw that little gap to the right side. That play designed to go left of center. He takes it to the right, gets the first down, and Eric Dickerson, he's a little bit of everything, including the Indianapolis Colts Travelers Man of the Year. Notice how I slid that in there, Dan?
Very nice.
And, of course, the Travelers Man of the Year in the NFL will be announced at the Super Bowl.
9.5.
Yep.
Like the style point.
From the 42-yard line. The Colts having just picked up their first down of this half. Flag is down. It's Beach, the tight end. He's tackled at the 47-yard line by Brian Washington, and there's a marker down at the line of scrimmage. Head linesman made the call, and the call is motion against Indianapolis.
Number 84, illegal motion offense, 5 yards, first down.
That's Mark Boyer, who was lined up as the other tight end. Beach made the catch, but Boyer lining up illegally.
Well, they caught him rocking back just a little bit right before the snap. Boyer just settled back on his heels. Looked like he forgot the snap count. The kind of mistakes that an offensive team struggling to make something happen just can't afford. Now instead of a second and less than 5, they're into a first and 15 situation. Defense now holds all the cards.
They had a good time for Cleveland. It's even good against the run, the blitz, when they come with it.
And Pagel going deep for Verdan, and much too deep, and Verdan didn't have a chance. He was blanketed that time. Dixon was there, and Wright was over for support as well. So back they come. Here's an interesting case now. Remember, it's the 45-second rule. On a deep pass like this, you got to remember not to trot back. And Verdan was pleading his case, and now he has to sprint back to the huddle because there goes the clock. Not like the old days.
And what you don't see very often now with that new rule controlling the clock is sending the same receiver on a fly pattern twice in a row, because he's still sucking wind out there, and you can't very well do it.
Second and 15, and that clock is now down to 5 seconds. They send Booza in motion, 1 second, and they just do get it off before the penalty. And Trudeau throws and finds the open man, who drops it at the 48-yard line. Incomplete. Incomplete. Felix Wright hitting Verdan, who never had possession of it.
Well, we're back to the definition of what is a catch. No matter what it looks like when you're up in the air, you have to have it when both feet hit the ground. And Clarence Verdan, the intended receiver, a good throw that time by Jack Trudeau. Let's take a look at it. He's got it there, but the hit by Felix Wright clearly forces out the ball before Verdan is able to get both feet on the ground. A sensational defensive play that time by Felix Wright.
Watch the helmet.
Free safety.
Right into the ball, knocking the ball loose to bring up third down long yardage.
Beautiful.
Third and 15 at the 37-yard line. Trudeau, and he has a first down as he finds Matt Booza, who got free at the 45-yard line, and he put it right in there. Did Trudeau for a first down on 3rd and 15.
He's not agile, not mobile, but when you give him a pocket, he's got it here. He can put the ball in there. Good, strong arm. Had to thread it right in between defenders, and he was right on the numbers.
We've been tough on that offensive line. Give him credit that time. The Browns rushed 4 guys. They were no factor at all. And the Browns settled back into that deep zone, and Booza was able to work underneath, and a perfect throw that time by Trudeau.
Colts at the Cleveland 45-yard line. Beach makes the catch, and he's taken out of bounds by Brian Washington, the rookie safety. At the 39-yard line, it's a gain of 6.
And these are the kind of plays the Colts have to stay with. They went with it on first down last time. The penalty negated it, but go ahead, work your tight end across the middle. Work some short passes to your backs. Plenty of time left in this ball game. 11 minutes and 51 seconds. 2 scores will give you the lead. Be patient. Be conservative. Stop trying to always get the big play.
Once you start completing it, then you can go back to Dickerson. 2nd
and 4. They go back to Dickerson here. He swings to the outside, then back inside. And he comes up about a yard short of the first down, taking it to the 36-yard line. Stopped by Felix Wright. So at the 36 now, 3rd and 1.
What would Bart Starr call here?
Play action and hit the deep man in the corner of the end zone.
You're exactly right.
Ray Scott would have it down. McGee right.
They line up in the I with Bentley leading the way for Dickerson, and they off the play fake have Trudeau rolling and throwing incomplete, intended for Booza, who wanted a call on Minifield and doesn't get it. And now Meyer on 4th and 1 at the 36-yard line has a decision.
I think Meyer had to feel that I'm in a 2-down situation, even though it's going to put me in action on 4th down. But when you're down 23-10, you've got to think I'm going to go with 2 plays. And not much of a play fake. Nobody's buying that. Certainly not Minifield. He was reading it all the way.
And had his body in front. Whoa!
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Puts the left hand on the hip. Boy, we didn't see that from the other angle.
Nope.
And you have to think the official didn't either.
And that play is not subject to review.
Now you got to go to the money man, Dickerson.
4th and 1. He's the sole running back in this set. And they give it to Eric, and he gets upended at the 35-yard line, and it all depends on the spot.
Ooh, this is
Darrell Sims makes the tackle.
Boy,
and where do they put it?
You run the risk, guys, out of that one-back set without a lead blocker on short yardage situation, that if there's any penetration at all, it's going to kill your play.
And it's a 1st down, even without the measurement. The ball spotted right on the 35-yard line, and Drice took a look and said, keep on going.
Risky call by the Colts, wouldn't you agree?
This was the 3rd down short yardage play a few moments ago. Running play action did not sell anybody, but certainly not Minifield. And you get a look at Minifield, who you go to Pro Bowls when you can do something like that and get away with it.
Yeah, he did get away with it because that's interference all the way.
1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Swing to Dickerson, incomplete. Mike Johnson put the pressure on that time. He forced them to get rid of it in a hurry. 2nd down.
One of 3 first-round draft picks that operate in that linebacker core for the Cleveland Browns, and he is the soul of that defense in the middle of it. He is one tough cookie. They could have 4 first-round draft picks at linebackers if their rookie first-round pick, Clifford Charlton, can crack that lineup. Ray Matthews, Junkin, Johnson, all first-rounders.
2nd and 10. Deep, and the tight end gets run out of bounds by Grayson at the 31-yard line. There's Dave Grayson. His father played with the old Oakland Raiders and Kansas City, and he's about as good a linebacker as you will ever see.
He is. He made this team as a replacement player a year ago. Had been cut by San Francisco last year. During the replacement strike games, he came in and really had an opportunity to show what he can do. He has great speed, great agility, reads the ball well, and he's become a starter.
So now another important 3rd down, a 3rd and 6 for Indianapolis out of the shotgun. Trudeau pressured on the blitz, and Dickerson can't make the catch. There's a flag down on the other side of the field, though. Dickerson, and they have been throwing to him a lot this season in the first 2 games, but he's not caught a pass tonight. That time, Will Hill on the safety blitz forced the issue, and the flag on the other side of the field.
And I don't know what else Jack Trudeau could have done, and this is going to go
Defensive
against
holding,
Cleveland.
Number 29, that's a 5-yard penalty, and that's a 1st down.
And that's Hanford Dixon, and he wasn't remotely close to the play.
Well, a superior play that time by Trudeau. He took a real shot and delivered it to Dickerson, who dropped it. But here's the play at the line of scrimmage.
Dixon against Verdan, and I'll tell you, that was not a badly thrown football.
Was that defensive holding?
I don't know.
Boy, he had the arms extended. We couldn't see him grab anything from there.
Here's Dickerson on 1st down. It's an automatic 1st down on defensive holding. Stop for no gain. Mike Junkin will get credit for that tackle. 9 minutes and 15 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Cleveland leading 23-10.
Well, if the Browns got away with one when Frank Minifield had the hand on the hip, it looks like what goes around comes around, because that call against Hanford Dixon certainly didn't look flagrant by any means. In fact, it didn't look like defensive holding at all from that angle.
2nd and 10, both Brooks and Booza split to the right. And Trudeau looks that way, but has to turn around because of pressure. Going deep for Booza, and it's picked off at the goal line by Hanford Dixon. And back he comes at the 15. He's tackled there.
And Trudeau is down. He's hurt. Harrison levels Trudeau just as he released the ball.
Wright tipped it. Dixon makes the interception. Mike Johnson was also putting a lot of pressure on Jack Trudeau.
And you hope that Trudeau is all right. You certainly hope that anyone down on the ground gets up and is okay. And he's got the double agony of being hurt and also knowing that that's a pass he just shouldn't have thrown. And this is awful as looks like they're looking at the lower extremities.
So they work on Trudeau. Cleveland has the ball. Chandler warming up. Browns by 13. Carl Hairston, who has effectively removed Trudeau from the game. Trudeau was just assisted off the field.
It appeared to be the left leg that they were looking at. Hairston made the stop and then just rolled right up Trudeau.
Insult to injury with the interception. He's on the bench. Chandler's warming up, and Cleveland has the football. From the 25-yard line, it's Biner, and he takes it to the 28. Let's go back and have a look at that play.
It starts when Mike Johnson, the middle linebacker, comes on the blitz up the middle, and he's untouched. Dickerson can't get him. That flushes Trudeau, and then there's the hit by Hairston. Now watch Trudeau grab his left leg immediately. He knows he's hurt the instant it happens, and he actually calls over to the sideline for help. Again, Johnson with the flush. And let's see if we can look at his leg. Well, we're going to follow the ball downfield to the interception. Felix Wright again with another sterling defensive play, popping the ball up in the air for Hanford Dixon.
2nd and 6 now as the Browns can work on the clock. They have a 13-point lead. They have Mack as the tailback. They have Brennan in motion, and it's Kevin Mack taking it out to the 32-yard line with under 8 minutes to play.
Trudeau once again, Hairston doing his job, and just comes down with all of his weight on Trudeau's left leg. Hairston weighing about 270 pounds, and right away, and if you've ever had any injury, you know right away that you were hurt. And calling for help, even as the ball was being returned by Hanford Dixon.
3rd and 3 for Cleveland at the 32-yard line. Browns ahead, 23-10. Biner needs 3 and doesn't get it. So Indianapolis able to hold as he is stopped at the 34-yard line is Biner, and in comes the punting unit.
You talk about what just happened to Jack Trudeau. You think over on the far sideline with the Cleveland Browns, what's happened with their quarterbacks? You think the quarterbacks in this league don't earn their money? The way these guys are exposed, the way they condition themselves to stay in the pocket until the very last moment to release the ball to maximize their team's chances of a big play happening.
You know what's amazing is how few teams in the league at the end of this 3rd week have a settled quarterback situation. What with controversy to begin with, or injury, or other problems, it's amazing how few. Johnson's kick is a liner caught by Verdan at the 27, and a good run back. Verdan inside the Cleveland 40, and only Johnson to beat, and he beats him and scores the touchdown. And no flags in view.
They said Verdan was the speed on the outside, and you saw it there.
And they picked him up in the offseason for a 5th-round draft choice. From the Washington Redskins he came, Clarence Verdan, the little one who got the start tonight for his speed, as Frank mentioned, as a wideout, has put Indianapolis very much back in the game.
And the Browns covered this punt like they just think this game is won. Look at everyone standing, no one even diving, attempting to make a play. Pretty lackadaisical coverage by the Cleveland Browns. Johnson tried, but he really has no shot. And Verdan sends his greetings to the dog pounds, and out come the biscuits.
Room in this game for a little man. He's only 5'8", 163 pounds, and he put the Colts right back in it.
Dean Biasucci puts it through, and Indianapolis is now down by 6. So it's 23-17 Cleveland with 6 minutes and 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Clarence Verdan talking to the dog pound. Not a wise thing to do. They'll throw things at you.
Cleveland on top 23-17, and Jess Atkinson to kick off. Again, Biasucci with the strained groin. Trudeau gets taken back to the dressing room as it's fielded on a couple of bounces by Fontenot at the 11-yard line, and he brings it back out to the 30. So Verdan brings them to within 6.
This is Clarence Verdan working his way through the end zone, and after his punt return. Now watch what comes out of the dog pound. There it is. That is a milk bone, and why send a Hallmark when a milk bone will do?
Don't taunt the animals.
That entire end zone is littered with doggy biscuits. I wonder if they pick them up or just bring them over from the Animal Protective League and let them have a field day.
Yeah. No calcium deficiency there.
Ooh.
From the 30. Verdan's punt return for a TD, the first punt return for a touchdown in the NFL this season, as Kevin Mack plows his way for a gain of about 9 and stays inbounds as well. Clock ticking with 5:45 to play in the fourth quarter.
You don't often see the pile move backwards when 34 hits it. When Kevin Mack decides that the time has come that he has to take on a would-be tackler, you seldom see him being the guy driven back. One of the most powerful runners in the National Football League. That 235 is distributed well, a lot of it in the legs. And when he's tackled, the blue shirts are the ones going backwards.
At the 39-yard line. Mack picks up a first down. That's the first punt return for a touchdown against the Browns in 11 years. White Shoes Johnson was the last man to do it when he played with Houston in '77. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves. .445 left, fourth quarter. Cleveland has the ball at its own 42. First and 10. Trudeau, the report is a strained left knee. He was carted off, obviously will not return. Tim Manoa for no gain. And since Trudeau was hurt, remember, Indianapolis has not had the ball on offense, so they did score 7 points thanks to Verdan's run back. Chris Chandler was the man warming up. So will it be the rookie quarterback when the Colts get the ball back, if the Colts get the ball back, or would he go with Hogeboom? There's Hogeboom.
Second down and long. Brian Brennan comes in for Cleveland. He's their possession receiver. Not a bad time for the Colts to think blitz. They're a good blitzing ball club. Second and long, good place to do it. Also a good chance with a blitz to perhaps jar it loose.
Second and 10. They blitz Bickett from the outside and Krause from the inside, and he gets the pass away to the 48-yard line to Brian Brennan, but they're still about 3 yards short of the first down. So upcoming is a very big 3rd and 3 because the clock is now down to 3.5.
Gary Hogeboom appeared to really be in the game over there on the sidelines, huh?
I was going to say, he did not have the look of the guy who was coming in, and the fact that Chandler was holding his helmet is a pretty good indication as to who will guide this team. But their problem right now is getting the ball back, and this is a critical play right here, because if the Browns pick up a first down, they can take it down to the 2-minute warning and beyond. 3rd and 3. Pagel from the shotgun. Brennan comes in motion. 4 receivers into the pattern. Slaughter makes the catch. Big first down. He's tackled by Eugene Daniel. Ran a slant inside Daniel. First down, Cleveland, and they can really go to work on the clock now as to who will guide this team. But their problem right now is getting the ball back, and this is a critical play right here. because if the Browns pick up a first down, they can take it down to the 2-minute warning and beyond. 3rd and 3. Pagel from the shotgun. Brennan comes in motion. 4 receivers into the pattern. Slaughter makes the catch. Big first down. He's tackled by Eugene Daniel. Ran a slant inside Daniel. First down, Cleveland, and they can really go to work on the clock now.
And it's very simple why they decided to go to the left. It's because Eugene Daniel is clear out of the picture. Watch the slant to the inside, and look how late he is coming in to make the play. Daniel is so far off the ball, he's not even in the picture. Finally, 38 appears to make the play on Slaughter. And in a short yardage 3rd and 3, your corners have to come up and play a little bit tighter coverage there.
Good call. It's something they picked up in frequency. That crossing pattern, they knew he'd been open, and he got the critical first down.
To the 39-yard line as we approach the 2-minute warning. It's Kevin Mack, stop for no gain. Colts may want to use a timeout here, and they do because they'll get a free one at the 2-minute warning. So they use a timeout here. They will have 2 remaining. They'll get a free one after the next play because of the 2-minute warning as they try desperately to get the football back.
We were in Indianapolis, Frank, for the Olympic trials, the track and field trials, while the Colts were in training camp, and all the press in the Indianapolis papers was so positive about the Colts coming off a championship season, winning their division, and all the big expectations of 1988, and I just don't think anyone conceived of the fact that they might open up 0-3, especially this guy, Ron Meyer.
Nor could you really conceive of the problems they've had. Chris Hinton, a brief holdout at the time, the Pro Bowler, and then all the things that happened to them. Ron Solt, he is still a holdout, their Pro Bowl guard. And over in the right side, their big offensive tackle, Kevin Call. And both their offensive tackles unable to go. They've had problems moving the football. That's created a controversy over who's going to be the quarterback. Now an interesting thing has developed. There was talk that they'd like to move Gary Hogaboom, who did not take too kindly to being set down. And all of a sudden now the injured Jack Trudeau means that you're going to have Gary Hogaboom around whether you like it or not, because they're down to 2 now.
Chandler awaiting his turn, but they have to get the ball back. They put 3 seconds back on the clock. It had gone to 2:02, but they called the timeout at 2:05. Pretty academic at this point because they'll get a timeout coming up right after this play for the 2-minute warning.
It's called hang on to the football at this point.
2nd and 10, play fake, throw, dropped by Mack. Big break for the Colts at the 2-minute warning because it's going to be 3rd down and 9 now. They have 2 timeouts remaining as you look at Fred Young, and Cleveland holding on to a 6-point lead. Browns have the ball at the Colts 38-yard line. It is 3rd down and 9. Colts have 2 timeouts remaining. Pagel out of the shotgun with 4 receivers. Viner stays in the block, and he lost one for Slaughter over Daniel, too far. And the snap was errant, so it's 4th down. Then that snap by Rakosi, the center. And that play only took 5 seconds, so the Colts get it back, and they'll have 2 timeouts.
Bad snap. Good defensive strategy by the Colts, however. They had a safety blitz on. Pagel really had no chance to do anything other than to do what he did, and that was to put it up high. He had to do it quickly, and the coverage was there, and he missed.
Now Johnson to punt from the 50-yard line, and Verdan is back, and it's a high and very, very short kick that bounces at the 18, and then laterally bounces out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Not too pretty, but pretty effective, because Indianapolis will have to move 85 yards in 1:43 with 2 timeouts. Down by 6, starting at its own 15-yard line, otherwise known as just behind second base here in Cleveland on the skin part of the infield, and very much looking for a home run with 2 timeouts remaining.
You're going to be moving the football. This is the place to be moving from left to right as we look at it. You're moving literally downfield, and that means an awful lot to an offensive team.
Now, Chris Chandler is the quarterback. He's the rookie out of Washington who completed his first pro pass in the first half for 53 yards. He's flushed out of the pocket. He hits Bentley. Bentley stays on his feet, and Bentley squirms out to the 25-yard line. Very close to a first down. 1.5 minutes to play. Stephen Bragg's in on the tackle. They take a look at the marker. He is just short of the first down. 2nd and inches from the 25. They have 2 timeouts. Over the middle, first down, Bentley, but a flag was down, and that flag appeared to be thrown before the inception of the play.
Well, they were blowing the whistle during the course of the play, so I would suspect that's a dead play, and we're probably going to have some time put back on the clock. It's going against the Colts. Ben Dry.
Start on number 65. Now that was a first down before that. And we're going to go back 5 yards.
Whoa, wow. I thought it was pretty strange. It looked close enough to measure, and they didn't.
And they didn't go back to the huddle, so they didn't have time to move the sticks. They should have stopped the clock and moved the sticks.
Exactly. So instead of it being what the Colts thought was 2nd and inches, it was really 1st and 10. Then a false start. Now it's 1st and 15.
Which dramatically changes the call you would make.
Meanwhile, they didn't put any time back on the clock, which right now is stopped at 1:14. 1st and 15 from the 20-yard line. Chandler throwing into traffic and completing it to Brooks. A beautiful catch. Forward progress is close to a first down. And it will be as he gets it out to the 36-yard line. He picks up 16. Harper makes the tackle. 55 seconds. Chandler, a rookie under pressure. Big pressure. Stepping up and then dropped at the 40-yard line, and he calls a timeout with 39 seconds. So they have 1 timeout remaining.
And again, keep in mind, a field goal doesn't do it. A touchdown would tie it. The touchdown and an extra point would win it. Again, asking a lot of a 3rd-round draft choice. Well-trained coming from Washington. Don James, a sensational program out there, but Chris Chandler on a Monday night and a desperation attempt for a win by a winless team has to be a little tight.
And I don't know what they're talking it over, but one would have to think that somehow you get the ball to Dickerson. He's the man who can take it, a broken play, a play that even might appear to lose yardage and turn it into 6 points for you. And it's being played out offensively over there. There's the man. Whether you get it to him on a little screen, get it to him in a circle pattern, get it to another receiver with a lateral to him, somehow you get the ball into the hands of Eric Dickerson.
There weren't a lot of great quarterbacks in this last draft. Chandler was the 76th player chosen and the first quarterback. And Indy, you'll recall, gave up their 1st and 2nd round choices in the Dickerson deal. He was the first man they picked. And he's a man on the spot right now, 2nd and 6 from the 40. They have 1 timeout. Everybody into the pattern, including Dickerson. Going deep for Brooks. He's double covered, incomplete, batted away by Wright.
And Felix Wright here in the 4th quarter has played just about as good a quarter of football as you can ask a defensive back to play. He's been in on every big play for the Browns here in the entire 2nd half, really, but especially here in the 4th quarter. Up front, Stephen Braggs is the corner with the coverage, but Wright doing exactly what a safety is supposed to do, give help on the deep outside, and he's there in time to get a hand on the football.
Braggs in on the nickel, and Felix Wright playing this absolutely perfect. Braggs, of course, fine cornerback. They were not even worried about Menefield or Dixon not making it tonight because they think that highly of Stephen Braggs.
3rd and 6 now with 31 seconds. Chandler is sacked at the 35-yard line. It's 4th down. Sacked by Michael Dean Perry, the Bridges brother, and they start the clock, and now Chandler's got to take the timeout. They have to stop the clock with 23 seconds.
Ben Dryce had a hold of Chandler. Almost looked like he was yelling at him, didn't it? It looked like he was trying to explain something to Chandler. I'm sure that he was trying to explain to him his options as far as whether the clock was still running and what was going on.
What he could not do, Chandler, was come up to the line of scrimmage on 4th down, throw the ball away to stop the clock because it is 4th down. So he had to use that last remaining timeout.
It will be 4th down and 12. Call it 11 with no timeouts remaining now for Indianapolis, and they simply need 66 yards in 23 seconds, somehow, some way. And they sent 3 receivers all to the right.
A little premature for a Hail Mary.
And it's dropped by Brooks.
They gave it the look of one on the right side, tried to come back to Brooks. And Cleveland will get the football back. Good defensive effort by the Browns.
And look at Hanford Dixon go down to play with his friends in the pound. He started his whole dog business, and he's the guy that made the play. He had the coverage on Brooks. And he goes down to bid a fond adieu to his friends in the end zone.
You can ride him for the first 5 yards.
Well,
I'll tell you, that could have got a lot of laundry.
That's flag material there. That's flag material. I mean, first of all, that's defensive holding, riding him off the ball like that.
We're seeing it every game, though, Dan. Much more lenient. Defensive backs this year seemingly can do much more than they've been able to do in the past few years.
Well, in a game pretty vital to both teams, Cleveland wins it. They're only a game back of Cincinnati. They'll play the Bengals at Riverfront Stadium next Sunday. And Indianapolis in big trouble now.
And I don't think Ron Meyer was saying, boy, I sure hope you work our next game.
No.
Don't bet on that.
A quick wave to Marty Schottenheimer.
So the Colts, who lost in overtime to Houston, then lost by 4 to Chicago, lose another heartbreaker by 6 at Cleveland and go home to face Miami next week with a mark of 0-3. Schottenheimer's Browns now 2-1 and get a big night from Pagel and the running game as well. So again, the final score is Cleveland 23, Indianapolis 17. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf saying good night from Cleveland, where this ABC Sports